Have you ever been to a rub and tug?
No. Just a tug. No. Yeah, NFC.
On today's part of my take, we have our good friend Mark Titus on to break down the bracket, give us his picks, talk everything March Madness, getting you ready for Thursday. We also have our internet father for PFT, my uncle, Mike Florio. He's got a new book out. We do a little guys on free agency. So we talk some football with him. He's got some good insight onto where Deshaun Watson will go. We're going to talk March Madness. We're going to talk Hot Seat, Cool Throne. We got a great show for everyone. And on top of all of that, we have a new sponsor alert. Hit the sound, Hank.
Woo!
New sponsor alert. Venmo is officially on board. We love Venmo. I like Venmo. I've had Venmo for a very long time. It's been a word we couldn't say for a while, but let's just be honest with everyone here. We have Venmo.
Love Venmo. In fact, Big Cat just Venmoed me earlier today.
Can you actually do me a favor, PFT? This is a little lesson for the people out there. Go look up my Venmo that I sent you.
Okay.
And tell me what I put in the message. So Venmo is officially a sponsor. PFT is going to tell you in 1 second, and I will tell you why. Venmo is doing something awesome for our AWLs.
Okay.
They're giving away $100,000 in the month of March to AWLs all basketball season. What did I put in there?
The note for the Venmo exchange was #PMT.
And I did that because if you do any transaction on Venmo during the next few weeks, any transaction you use #PMT, you could possibly win free money. So they're giving away $100,000. You can win up to $500 from Venmo. All you got to do is have a transaction on Venmo, use the #PMT in the payment note, and boom, you could potentially win free money from Venmo. And when you win the money, screenshot your winnings, post it to Twitter, Instagram, and tag Part of My Take. We'll be retweeting and reposting all basketball season. So win up to $500 when you include the #PMT in all Venmo payments throughout all basketball season. Again, make sure to post it on Instagram and Twitter for us to see. That's unbelievable. Shout out Venmo. Round of applause for Venmo.
Yeah.
$100,000 are given away to AWLs all basketball season. All you got to do, put in that #PMT in your transaction note. Thank you to Venmo. We appreciate they're taking over this whole episode, so we love Venmo. Go download Venmo if you don't have it, and if you do have it, use that #PMT when you make a transaction during the month of March.
Remember, guys, terms apply. For full details on this giveaway and alternative entry methods, visit venmo.com/giveaway/PMT.
Okay, let's go. Welcome to Part of My Take, presented by Venmo. New sponsor alert. Use the #PMT when you make a transaction on Venmo, and Venmo is giving $100,000 away to AWLs during March, and you can win up to $500 if you just put in #PMT in your transaction. Thank you, Venmo. That's unbelievable. Today is Wednesday, March 16th. I'm ready for madness. I am finally there. I've been stuffing my brain with statistics, and I'm ready. I'm ready. Spreads don't matter, by the way.
Oh, of course not.
No, they don't.
They don't matter. Spreads don't matter in March. You have to have a 12 over a 5. These are the rules of the bracket. You have to have it 112 over 5 at least. Then you can be smart and say it happens every year.
I have some stats for you. You want me to throw some stats real quick? We're going to talk with Mark Titus about the whole bracket. But
Your brain is so filled with stats that you have to get rid of some of them.
I have to get rid of some. Top 50 free throws. Free throw percentage. Ready?
This was going to be the one I was going to ask you about. Because a lot of times I like to bet just exclusively on better free throw percentages.
Villanova, #1 in the country.
Okay, good
Overall,
thing I have them in my
#1.
Final Four.
Yep, Colorado State, North Carolina, St. Mary's, Chattanooga. These are all teams that are top 50. Really bad free throw teams, Boise State, USC, TCU, Houston. Just take this information and run with it. It's a fun thing to say to people. Let's though, we have some real business we got to get to. Should you present it to Billy?
Yes. So Billy is he made a lot of money, I think, in football season off of his stats, right? Off your spreadsheets, Billy?
It worked a couple times.
A couple times.
What was the return on investment?
I think the season I did for the whole season, the return on investment was about $150.
So based off how many units, though? I'm looking for percentages here.
Basically, I turned $100 a week into $150 by the end of it.
So Billy, for people who don't know the backstory of Billy, $100 a week to $150.
Does that mean that you lost like $1,600?
No,
Yeah.
$50 over the course of 18 weeks.
You were up
Okay.
$50.
No. That was including the 100.
Right.
You reinvested it.
Right. So
Right.
you made $50 total.
No. 150. I counted the 100 that was first put in.
So you started the year with 100. You ended the year with 250.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a little tip for you, Billy. The way to say that is if you are a $1 a unit better, you were up 150 units this year.
Perfect.
See how that sounds?
$8 a Sunday.
That's pretty damn good. You say it like that, and people are like, wow, this guy's a tout.
Wait, so it made 150%.
Correct, 150
That's
units.
enormous. That you
Right.
broke Vegas.
Yeah.
Right, but there was a couple places where it got.
Oh, you did something. You deviated?
There was a couple deviations.
Billy
We
just
got out
hit
of
one.
there.
Billy realized that you could just bet on one game instead of betting on all of them. So Billy's strategy, for people who don't know, he's the guy who at a horse track, everyone's had this moment where it dawns on them, what if I just hit the all button? I can't lose every bet. One of these has to hit. I'll just hit the all button and root for the long shot is essentially what Billy's done. And that's what you're going to do for March Madness, correct?
Yeah. It's this is going to be a fun one, guys.
Okay.
So you came into this room about 30 minutes ago, and you had a look on your face. You even said out loud, like, I don't think the system's ready yet. I don't give a fuck if it's ready yet, Billy. We're going to launch it. This is called agile development in the software. We're going to launch it, and you know what? Even the bugs are going to become the features.
The system might not be ready, but guess what? March Madness is starting, so it better, we don't have any time. We have to implement the best system that we have and go forward with it. PFT has brought you a gift from the two of us.
Dude,
It's not even a gift, it's an
this
investment.
is a really
It's an
bad
investment.
idea.
No, we know it's a bad idea.
Why are you guys
Oh,
doing
we're very
Because
aware.
you asked us for the investment. Now you're getting it. You would be an awful entrepreneur looking for money from your VCs. Me and Big Cat are your angel investors right now, okay? So we're buying a piece of your system. We've got $2,000.
$1,000 from each of us that we're investing,
We're bankrolling.
which is roughly I don't know,
Dude,
a minute and a half of PMT.
It's basically this segment is
Yeah.
paying for this.
Yes. Actually, it's run kind of long, so we could. No, we're not going to invest
20,
anymore.
I'm taking
So
this
here's the issue I have. I want to hear his system, but before we even hear the system, the problem I'm struggling with, we're handing Billy $2,000 of cash.
I don't want to leave
So-
the office with that.
Right. What are you going to get jumped? What are you talking about?
Dude,
Okay.
just go war mode.
Billy
on him.
just thinks he lives in fucking in
Gotham,
Grand
bro.
Theft Auto at all
yeah,
times.
just go Jason Bourne.
I don't
if
think
somebody
anyone
tries
would
to
be
jump you.
comfortable carrying around that much cash.
I
Billy,
have
$2,000
all the
bucks?
time. I have that cash.
We just talked to Dale Brown, the commander from the Detroit Urban Survival Training. He showed you what to do in the event of a mugging.
So you're fine.
Right. Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right, so Billy, here's my problem though. We're giving Billy $2,000, and it's 4 days before St. Patrick's Day, and he's got to go deposit this money and then put it into his Barstool Sportsbook account. What are the chances you don't do that
Bro,
step?
I'm running to the Chase Bank with that, and I'm not letting anyone get near me.
Yeah, well, you really do live in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
What do you
Billy,
think
it's-
this?
Are you scared of
$2,000.
cash?
Are you
I'm
scared of
of
people?
cash. I don't carry cash. My generation doesn't carry cash.
Your generation?
Yeah, dude. I
can
when you're
tell.
carrying a lot of cash, like something bad's about to happen.
I
No,
can tell
I
that Billy's
disagree.
I can
No,
tell
something
Billy's
good's
afraid
about to happen.
Yeah, you're
because
gonna
I
double it
took
and
it out,
triple
I
it.
put it on the table, and Billy immediately, if you notice his body language, leaned away from the cash. If
I
you
tweeted
Have you
this.
seen those pictures where people analyze based on whether or not the woman or the man is leaning in to see who's in charge of the relationship?
Jesus.
This cash just alpha
I
the fuck out
tweeted
of you,
this
Billy.
the other day.
Look at
like,
that. Your
people who
axis
carry
is all
cash.
off.
Why do you carry cash? Because I literally don't find the point of carrying cash.
Because it's fun to have cash. You know how great it is to just be able to get paid in cash? It's great. And also, if you're going to a casino, a horse track, all these places, having a lot of cash,
club.
actually, I disagree with you. Having a lot of cash means you're about to do something awesome.
And no taxes.
And no taxes. They don't tax cash. That's a fact.
really?
Yeah. So,
Billy, imagine the difference if we had just Venmo'd you $2,000,
hashtag PMT.
hashtag PMT, you would be like, oh, sweet, that's cool.
Yeah.
But you're looking at this cash right now, and you're intimidated by it.
That's the most cash I've probably seen in person ever.
Yikes. Okay. You've never gone to a casino?
Well, I go to a casino, but I'm doing that.
Okay. All
I
right.
think
Don't
I
unit
think for the
shame.
people
All right, I'm
that
not
are
unit
listening,
shaming. I just that's like you've never had. Okay, yeah, maybe
Remember,
you
it's
just
in-
don't do
it's
cash. I
currently-
like
Yes.
to carry cash.
It's in 20s on the table.
I like to carry cash.
It's in 20s, so it's a pretty thick boy.
it's not like it's 10.
Yeah.
Well, it's got 5s and 10s in there too.
It's not like
Yeah.
$20,
Mix it
$100
up.
bills.
That's a wad.
Just hold it. I want you to.
I don't wanna
I
touch
want you to
that,
feel the
bro.
responsibility. It's not a
Jesus
snake,
Christ.
dude.
I also realized that I just like if you're ever wondering if I've been gambling for a long time, my yikes to Billy there on the $2,000 cash. Like there's been many times I've had to have more than $2,000 cash to hand away. Okay, so give us the system.
Okay, so here's the system. So currently, it's in Excel. It's built out. Basically, it's got all the points where now I just got to figure out which amounts I should put on the money lines to improve the outcomes.
Okay.
So I built it with you put $5 on every money dog. You put $5 in
Smart.
every money dog.
Stop right there, and
What
you
about
got a
the-
winning strategy.
The one seeds that don't have money line. Are there a few?
Then you get the futures on those.
Okay, on like Georgia State to win it all.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's where you get the big ones because those. So basically, the concept is you put $5 on the
I got a better
underdog.
idea. Instead of putting $5 on Georgia State to win the NCAA tournament, why don't you just flush it down a toilet?
Yeah. Why don't we just ignore the 1 through 16?
No, but you don't put the $5.
Just light it on fire. How
You
about
don't-
that?
you don't put the
I'll cover
$5
it if Georgia State ends up winning.
Right. No. So if Georgia State loses, so basically the concept is that the money line dog is your insurance for if your future goes out in the first round.
Right. But you can't put a money line. I think the money line's too high on like Georgia State. So what do you do there?
Wait. Let me look at Georgia State right now because we need to. Bad. Sorry. Okay. So Georgia State. Yeah. So actually, Gonzaga, Georgia State. You don't actually put any money. You don't put any. You put money line on Georgia State, but you don't buy the future. You
Got
put the
it.
future on Gonzaga. So you put $5 on
Okay.
Georgia State, which I think equals out to like, I actually don't know the exact line on that money line because they didn't offer it right before.
Yeah, they won't. They probably won't have a money line on it because
Yeah.
it's like when the spread gets too big, they don't do money lines.
Exactly.
So, Billy, you need to
So
figure
what-
out.
That's
No,
actually
wait,
not
wait,
my
wait, wait.
equation.
The exactly part. Hold on, we got to
So like,
pause real quick because the exactly makes no sense.
so I actually.
So what do you
didn't-
do in this game?
So as of right now, we're doing nothing.
Okay, got
It's
it.
a pass,
Okay,
okay.
all right, all
But
right.
that was a pass.
All right,
But
see
for-
that's why I was kind of diving into it because I was like, "There's an issue here that we have to get to the bottom of."
Right.
What do you do? In
So,
this
for
game?
example, Baylor Norfolk State's a better example of what to do. So you put $5 on Norfolk State money line. If Norfolk State wins, then you get $80 profit. So you put $80 on Baylor to win the whole thing. So if Baylor
But wait,
loses in the
wait,
first
wait.
round,
Okay, you put $5 on Norfolk State to win. If they were to win,
you'd win
you'd
80
win
bucks.
80. So
which
that,
would
that
pay
means
for
that
the
you-
future.
So you put $80 on Baylor's future while
Uh-huh.
also betting $5 Norfolk State money line.
Exactly.
Got it.
Right,
Okay,
and then what
all right,
happens
all
if
right.
Baylor beats Norfolk State but then loses in the second round?
Well, then that's where the fun's going to come in.
Okay.
Second
I
round,
knew
you
there
start
was
looking
fun.
at the money lines and start seeing which futures you have to balance it all out.
So you reinvest every round off of the futures.
Exactly.
But what about? Okay, all right. I think I don't really understand it, but I guess I kind of do.
So, for example, your baseline, you're spending $160 on all of the money lines, dogs, in the first round. But that number might change just to make sure we have the best positive outcomes going forward.
got it. And
It's going to be weird.
when you said
I
there's
might-
bugs in the system, I
I might turn this into $2,020,
which
That's
would be
fine.
great.
which is positive.
That would be that would
Yeah.
be almost inflation.
Exactly.
So then, what do you give us back if that were to happen? Let's work on the payout math right now.
I might just not tell you how this whole system's going to go and then just hide all this money and add a 20 to it and then just give it back to you.
you
That
like
was
you're gonna
probably
hope that your system might be hold the money and hope you find $20 on the ground in the next 3
Exactly.
weeks.
Exactly.
Got
It's
it.
a black box.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, listen, however you want to do it. But no, I want the spreadsheet. I want people to be able to follow the spreadsheet.
All right.
You feel good?
No, dude, I'm going to get robbed.
Again, I don't think that's true
Jesus.
because this is also
When
not a
is-
live
we're
show.
not. Let's not early drop this because I got to run.
Because people are going to probably
There's
locate
literally
you.
a chase
Yes.
right across the street.
Well, I'm going to be running there.
That would make people want to rob you more.
I'm gonna
like,
tweet
who's that
it
guy
right now. Billy has
sprinting to the
$2,000.
bank?
No,
in
do
his
not
pocket.
tweet that. I'm not leaving this place if you
He
tweet
has
that.
$2,000.
No, okay, I'm out. I'm out.
now.
Jake, you carry it.
Billy, why don't you just go now?
Yeah, I'm gonna just bye, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tweet that. All right, I just tweeted. Go. I just tweeted it.
Hurry.
I just tweeted. Billy has $2,000 in his pocket right now. First one to mug him gets it. All right, Billy's running. I didn't tweet that.
He totally believes that you did, though.
Jake, anything we should know before we? And he's crazy.
That was
He's crazy,
of all the things to be scared of.
right?
He was literally
it's
afraid of
cash.
cash.
He was like
Red Tide with a
reptiles,
former slugger
spiders
in boxing.
You ever
Jose
see?
Canseco.
You ever see like a cat react when you put a cucumber on the ground? They're afraid of cucumbers.
Yeah.
Because they think it's a snake. That's what Billy was like around cash.
Billy was thinking about going to Ukraine with a fucking rocket launcher 2 weeks ago, but a pile
Wants
of
to
cash,
risk it all to be in the Marines.
yeah,
right?
has him scared to death.
Maybe we should have rolled up all the bills really tight. Then he would have been.
He was
offended.
so
He was
scared.
offended that you even offered him cash.
Yeah.
It's like, how dare you?
Man,
That was crazy.
What a weirdo.
what a weirdo.
But yeah, Jake, what did we miss? What's going on in March Madness? What's the latest?
Yeah, so I wait to fill out my bracket until after the first four, so I'll do it Thursday morning because in all but 1 year, we've seen a team that wins the first four advance to at least the round of 32.
But you can do that. You get automatically?
Yeah, but like for example, I like Indiana to make her own, but not necessarily Wyoming.
Got it.
So,
Okay, that makes sense.
Something like that. And then I don't know. Last year we had one Cinderella with Oral Roberts. I feel like there's going to be a few double-digit seeds that make a run this year.
Are you a Cinderella guy? Like, are you rooting? Because I'm a big
I see both sides.
first
yeah.
round upset. Yeah, you see both sides, of course.
Yeah.
I'm a big first round upset. I don't want it in the Sweet 16. I
Right.
want the best teams
Like-
to be like. I want an Elite Eight with Duke versus Gonzaga and Kentucky versus Baylor. Like, I want the best teams at the end.
I like one underdog making a run.
To the Sweet 16.
Just one.
But once we get to the Elite Eight, I want the best games.
Because
Yeah.
I need to look back 5 years from now and be like, that was George Mason's year. You know, like I can't split it up
Dunk
and
City.
have them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
TCU in
But I'm
2013.
saying like we're going to New Orleans for the Final Four. It would be. I was thinking about it today. Like, what if the Final Four this year is Kentucky versus Duke on one side, and Arizona versus Kansas on the other? Like, how sick that would be.
That'd be awesome.
Or like Villanova versus Kansas on the other. It would be
But
awesome.
counterpoint, wouldn't it also be awesome to see Fullerton beat Duke?
Yes.
So that's why you see
Absolutely.
both sides.
Yes. No, I know.
Yeah.
Early upsets, I want. Early upsets,
Ain't
I
giving
want.
me a death stare.
It's when we get to the Sweet 16 Elite Eight, and it's like we only have a few basketball games left.
Right.
I don't want a blowout. I
No,
want
like Arizona,
classics.
Illinois, Sweet 16, sick.
I want classics.
Yeah.
So call me crazy, Jake, but I'm just of the mindset that Rutgers has been such a fucked up team this year that they're gonna do some fuck shit in the tournament. If there's one fuck shit team, who would we put that on?
Oh, I don't know if it's Rutgers. Rutgers is very consistent.
Rutgers
they are the
hit or
best
miss.
team in the world in Jersey, the famous Jersey Mike's Arena, where the picture was taken. And
You know what?
And then the worst team ever when they're on the road, except for Madison.
I could see the winner of UNC Marquette beating Baylor and going to the Sweet 16. Shaka has experience making runs when no one's looking at him. With VCU in 2011, he doesn't have as much pressure. He was at Texas. I know Baylor's without one of their big men, Jonathan Chama-Chachua,
Nice.
defending champions. I remember, it was 2015 or 2016. No, 2017, Big Cat, when a one seed went down. Wisconsin beat Villanova, the defending champions,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So
yes.
a lot of those guys have already won it all. I know UNC had their big win for the Coach K tour, but Chaka, I don't know. I feel like this is a much better spot for him to succeed in the tournament versus when all their eyes are on him at Texas.
Yeah. Okay. I just had that like rush of excitement last night. Like, I can't wait to just gamble on every game.
It's the best.
It's going to be incredible.
Need a stance one way or the other from you, Jake, on Ohio State and Loyola.
Everyone's just saying, "Oh, Sister Jean Loyola's making a run again." That's why I think Ohio State.
Well,
But
Ohio State's
has
also
a great player.
Well, they've also faded. Like,
Yes,
they've
they
lost
have.
a lot down the stretch.
But
They looked bad.
Also, do
Kyle
you think
Young
those guys who got embarrassed in the first round historically last year want to go one and done again? I feel like that's some more motivation.
Of course.
That's true.
Of course. But
Counterpoint, Sister Jean is a witch.
Yeah.
I just know Ohio State has limped into the tournament.
Absolutely.
Like, they have, and I don't know if Kyle Young's going to play.
Right.
They have a couple other guys, I think.
But I think there was a stat saying if you win your conference tournament or you're hot at the end, it's not necessarily the best thing, which is like why this tournament's madness.
No, there's a lot of recency bias where if you talk to anyone right now, I guarantee you the teams that they would say out of their mouth are Iowa and Virginia
which is
Tech.
kind of,
and it's like, all right, well, that's not
because I have
really how it
Iowa in my
works.
Final Four, so kind of going against
So you
that.
did it yourself.
But they were hot before the conference tournament.
What is the spread in that Ohio State Loyola game?
I think it's half a point.
because I
or a
feel
pick 'em.
like I'm taking the underdog when I take Ohio State in that game because everybody else is on Loyola.
I believe it's a half a point one way or the other. I forget which way, but basically a pick 'em.
I think I'm going to go Ohio State in that one.
Yeah.
I think this is the year where Sister Jean's broom runs out of bristles and she falls to the earth, kills her black cat.
She's looking young.
I'm telling you, it's a different Sister Jean.
She's looking young.
They replaced her with a clone.
She's looking very young. All right, anything else? Mitch Trubisky's on the Steelers. What other big news?
The Jaguars are doing a complete renovation of their entire franchise. I love what they're doing. They're they're paying everybody insane amounts of money because there is a Jaguars tax that you have to pay. Like if you want a good player like Brandon Scherf or Christian Kirk, who I think are both like above average players, you have to pay them like they're superstars.
Yeah.
To get them to go to the Jaguars. And if you've watched the Jaguars games the last 2 years, and we are a Jagging Off podcast, we love the Jags. It's probably a good idea to try to get as many players who aren't Jacksonville Jaguars onto the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, we talked about it with Florio at the end, but yeah, I just think they have to do something to make Trevor Lawrence's life a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that it's fun to make fun of them, but I get it. Like, you have to do something. And we're also just waiting for Deshaun Watson. There's some limbo going on with Deshaun Watson and then Baker Mayfield. It feels like the Browns really want to get rid of him, but they haven't like outwardly said it. They haven't been like, hey, we're trading him.
Per sources, and my source on this one is Jeff D. Lowe, who's just plugged into the Browns, and his sources are probably dubious. But he said that the Commanders tried to trade for Baker Mayfield a few weeks ago, and then they settled on Carson Wentz. I would have rather had – nope, you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm currently undergoing like Carson Wentz conversion therapy, where every time I think about saying something bad about Carson Wentz, I just administer like a shock to myself.
Yeah.
In honor of Carson Wentz. I'm stopping all negative thoughts related to him. But it looks like the Browns are trying to find a trade partner for Baker Mayfield.
Yes, it definitely feels that way. Okay, why don't we do Hot Seat Cool Throw, and then we'll get to Mark Titus. We'll talk all the March Madness. Oh, also we have Frank Martin on Friday. He did just get fired. That's a little awkward. But it was a great interview. We're going to run it anyway. So, I mean, you can't not run a great interview just because a guy gets fired.
A lot of people have been talking about the PMT curse recently, and when Jake brought it up last week, and I was like, that's bullshit. But then Bruce Pearl lost.
Yeah.
Frank Martin got fired.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that there's a curse.
Carson Wentz went to the football team after Schefter.
Commanders.
Wisconsin hasn't won a game since we were there.
Commanders, yep.
Come on, watch it. Put $5 in the football team jar, Hank.
Wait,
Yeah.
they didn't win one game in the Big Ten?
That's so funny, Hank.
I'm not kidding.
It's because they got to buy. Double buy.
Oh,
So funny.
because
so
they
they
were,
technically did win a game.
Yeah, double buys. That's not like, sorry, I didn't know about a fucking double buy.
No, bro.
They were the
it's
bye.
a double buy.
They were the bye because they were
Like
the 1
what?
seed, right?
Well, PFT, they actually got a 3 seed in the tournament, and Illinois got a 4. So you had fun in Madison. Don't pretend you
I did.
didn't.
I had a great time.
All right, let's do Hot Seat Cool Throne. Hot Seat Cool Throne is brought to you by our friends at Venmo. They're taking over the entire episode. Thank you to Venmo when you're paying friends this basketball season. Make sure you use Venmo. No one wants to be that guy, whether it's tickets to the game or wings for the viewing party. Pay friends back quickly, easily, and safely with Venmo. Also, if you haven't already downloaded the Venmo app, use promo code PMT when you sign up. You get $10, so you can get $10 for free right away. Maybe that's your beer at the bar when you're watching March Madness on us by using promo code PMT. Also, Venmo, they're giving away $100,000 to AWLs throughout the basketball season. Send a Venmo payment for any amount and include hashtag PMT in the payment note for a chance to win up to $500. If you win, screenshot your winnings, post it to Twitter, Instagram, and tag us. We will retweet it. This is a great deal. $100,000 Venmo's giving away. All you got to do is hashtag PMT in any transaction you do. It could be for $1, it could be for $10, it could be for $100. Doesn't matter. If you use hashtag PMT, you're automatically qualified to potentially win some free money. Nothing better than free money.
Yeah, it's that easy. You just hop onto Venmo.com/giveaway/PMT because terms do apply, and for full details on that giveaway and the alternative entry methods, that's the website you want to go to, venmo.com/giveaway/PMT.
Download the Venmo app. If you don't have it, use code PMT when you sign up. And if you do have it, use that hashtag PMT when you send a transaction. $100,000 to AWLs. Okay. Hot seat, cool throne, Hank.
My hot seat is people who want billionaires to pay for their own fucking stadiums.
Yep, that was my hot seat too.
Wow.
Wonky idea.
The Bills are getting a $1.4 billion new stadium. It's going to be right next to their old stadium, all paid for by the public.
Wow, who says no?
Damn. How sick is the stadium, though?
It's going to be pretty. It's got to be sick.
We always have to refer to that stadium as the house that Josh built.
Yep. That's a fact.
I actually think that there is some truth to that. Obviously, like $1.4 billion. I don't know if that's like, it's tough to quantify one man's worth, but do you really think that the city of Buffalo or the taxpayers end up footing a large percentage of that bill if the Buffalo Bills were a shitty team? Probably not.
This is the house that Josh built.
That means that we get $140 million now from the city of Buffalo.
I agree. So that's a big bill.
I went back and watched that original promo. It's fine wine.
Which one?
It's funnier with time. The Simmons HBO.
Oh,
Yeah.
With that being the very end of it.
Edgy.
Yeah.
Billionaires should pay for their own fucking
The
stadiums.
best is that it only lasted for like 4 episodes. What a loser. Can you imagine being on TV
man.
and it only being on there for like a month?
Stupid.
And then my cool throne, I'm surprised you guys didn't talk about this. Chase Daniel.
Oh, he was on my cool throne.
Oh.
That's okay. Do it.
I'm just
The God. The
god.
golden arm.
He's re-signing with the Chargers. I saw this on the Barstool Sportsbook Instagram. He will have made $157,000 per pass
Yeah, they
attempt
took it
in
from
his
me.
career.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
crunched the
cool.
numbers.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so cool,
I
though.
did. They took it from me. They straight took it from me.
Chase-
yeah, no. $157,000.
I didn't see a hat tip. It actually says bet the pigskin.
His career earnings are $40 million after this year, and he's attempted like 200 plus passes, 261 passes. So it's insane what he's done. He might have one of the greatest careers of all time.
Yeah, Chase Daniel, if you're like a psycho sports dad that's been trying to get your son to become a professional athlete and you're working on all these intangibles, you're working on like sending him to specialized camps, you should stop doing that and instead just try to get them to become a guy that looks like a good backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And that can stand on the sidelines and is a good hang that people want around.
Billy's back.
because Jesus,
Imagine what would happen if you gave him $157,000 in cash. He'd probably die.
Chase Daniel.
No, I'm saying if Billy was in the same room
Yeah.
as
Yeah, Billy,
157K.
that's Billy's problem is he would be the worst backup quarterback of all. You're a starter or nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Chase he is the only quarterback whose name is a complete sentence in the NFL.
Correct. He's got seven seasons where he's got 5 attempts or less. That's awesome.
That's
And he's
so
got a
cool.
few seasons where he's had like he peaked with the Bears when Mitch got hurt. He had 76 pass attempts in 2018.
How long do you think Chase Daniel could show up with like a broken arm, like a legitimately broken right arm, and pretend that it was fine and still get paid week in, week out?
It's crazy because I know that we laugh about it, but there is something to be said. It's like Josh McCown. When people are like, "Oh, how does Josh McCown keep getting back?" He's probably a really good teammate. He probably is really good with like teaching younger quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said about being that guy in the locker room, in the quarterback room, where he adds some value. Maybe not $40 million, but some value to the team.
You're
Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, you're an extension of the coaching staff.
Correct. All right, good job, Hank.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
My hot seat. My hot seat, since Hank took mine, which is fine. 'cause
Was
he
yours
did-
Chase
he did a
Daniel
great
too?
job.
Oh, no.
No, is paying for your own fucking stadiums.
Yep.
My hot seat is clocks, because the Senate just now, as we're recording part of my take, passed a resolution making daylight savings time permanent, so the clocks don't go back anymore. That was just passed. I don't know if that's binding. The Senate passed it. I don't know if that was just
It's got to
symbolic
go to the
or whatever.
House, right?
It's got to go to the house.
No, the Senate's the final boss.
So do we switch it back now?
So
we have to switch it
So
back?
now this weekend, what this means is that on Saturday we have to turn our clocks back again. I know we just did it last weekend, but since this just passed, switch it back an hour on Sunday morning at 3 a.m.
Okay.
to 2 a.m. and then we're on that
Good to go.
permanently.
Good to
We
go.
don't have to worry about this ever again in this country. just this last weekend. So everybody get on the same page and do that.
We did it, Joe.
We did it.
Yeah.
My cool throne is Scotty Barnes.
Yes.
Because as far as Rookie of the Year votes go, he's already got one locked up. You know who that is?
Who?
LeBron.
Ah.
I don't know if LeBron has a vote, but he said he would vote for Scotty Barnes. You know why? Because he reminds himself a lot of himself when he was younger.
Yep.
Baby Braun of the Week goes to Scotty Barnes. Congratulations, Scotty.
I don't know if you guys have been paying attention because there's obviously March Madness, a lot of stuff going on, but the Lakers are so bad. It's awesome. I
Unbelievable.
watched the first quarter last night. They were down 33-12 in the first
It's like
quarter.
24-4 at one point.
At first, I was like, wait, is LeBron playing? And then I was like, wait, no, he is out there. He just doesn't try at all on defense. He's very close to packing it in.
The best was watching them just like struggle, and give 110% maximum effort in that overtime win against the Rockets.
Yeah.
That was so funny to
No,
watch.
that was a loss.
Oh, they lost
Yeah,
that?
they lose
oh,
every
wow,
game.
that's crazy.
It's awesome.
I would agree with you. I also live bet, kind of a sick move, but I live bet the Lakers when they're down like 30 just to enjoy the loss more, hoping that maybe they would come back. But I would agree with you that he's done, but he wants a scoring title. That's how he can justify.
That's right.
This season sucking and his team sucking. He can still post about his own personal accolades and be like, year 19, won the scoring title, never said I could do it. Blah, 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 blah. So he's going to be gunning every game, and they're going to be losing every game.
It's awesome, though. Like that. It was.
Someone tweeted a screenshot. It looked like a 16 versus 1 game. It was like they were down 30 and they were shooting 9%.
Yes. And he doesn't try at all on defense. He was screaming at everyone the other night because they weren't getting a rebound. And it's just a joy to watch. If you haven't tuned into these LeBron Lakers, it's awesome. And Magic, he's even spin zoning it, being like, he's so close to the scoring title. Like, we're so lucky to have him in purple and gold. Really? Like, this season is, you guys suck.
Are they the worst 30-24 team per Darren Rovell of all time?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Darren still got him just hovering around 500.
I mean, it's funny because I think they're the 9 or 10 right now.
The 9.
They're the 9. But
I want them in
But they're
so bad.
also like 12 games behind the 8 or something crazy like that, right?
Yeah.
I want them in the play-in game so bad because they're not
It's
going
like
to
the
win
Pelicans and the Trailblazers. Like if they don't make the playoffs, it will be maybe one of the worst seasons of all time.
Okay, but do we want them
They
to?
have to make the playoffs.
It's like
I want
them
them-
and then Duke last year.
Yeah.
Tomato.
They are. Yeah, they're 29. They're 5.5 games behind the Clippers in the 8th spot. They're 10 games back from the T-Wolves in the 7th spot. I wanted to make the playoffs, so they lose so they win the play-in game and then the Suns sweep them. That would be awesome. Because then we get like primetime LeBron games and everyone gets to watch him not play defense, and it's just the best.
And it also would add to LeBron's career playoff win-loss totals.
Correct.
Which would be nice.
So we need him in. All right, my hot seat is Fernando Tatis. So Junior, he got into, I think he hurt his wrist in a motorcycle accident, and he was asked when his motorcycle accident happened, and he responded, which one?
Nice. It's
So-
like Harrison Ford crashing planes.
Yeah, or Big Ben and motorcycles.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not a good answer for your franchise player.
No, which motorcycle accident was
one?
that? Why don't most contracts say like, hey, please don't ride motorcycles? They should.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They say please, and he says no, thank
Yeah,
you.
please don't ride motorcycles or play basketball in your driveway. Or what was the other really weird? Or have wet shower floors.
Yeah, exactly. Please don't use an iron
On your body.
on your body while you're wearing it. Yeah. And then my cool throne is our good friend Max Homa. He had an all-time round on Monday, which I'm just going to assume he just forgot that, Monday is usually a practice day. That's why he played well. But he made he made $327,000 on Monday by like going up. He had the lowest round that day, and he went up like 30 spots on the leaderboard. And then there was also a very funny anecdote. Some random guy on Twitter said, Max Homa just made $327,000 at the Players. I'm currently chatting with him at the Jacksonville Airport Chili's. His wife booked him a flight while he was on the course today. He ordered chicken tendies, and the waitress came back and said they ran out, day ruined. And he quote tweeted it, was like, this was by far the worst part of my day.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That is pretty bad.
But he's like,
Because
he's the people's golfer.
But in that moment, let's be real. If you're at the airport Chili's and you've got $350,000 brand new cash in your pocket, Billy,
You're freaking out.
how much would you pay in that moment for the chicken tenders that you want? Probably at least like $20,000, right?
I was going to say like $250,000.
I would probably just take out a stack and be like, just make it happen.
Yeah, just
go
do
find
it.
me a bird.
Whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Max is the man.
Congratulations, Max.
But again, he did that because he was playing on a Monday, so he had no idea. Like if that was a Saturday or Sunday, if there wasn't weather, he would have choked.
So a couple years ago, we had this idea on Part of My Take to make golf jerseys when you support a golfer. I think Brooks is now doing that right now on his own.
Oh, nice.
He kind of took our idea. We should make jerseys for all the homosexuals out there.
Yep.
To wear.
Let's do it.
You want to make homosexual jerseys, Hank?
Why not? Those would sell like hotcakes.
What would the design be?
It would just say Homa, and it would be in rainbow.
I think it would be
Or
also
HOMA plus.
Yeah, and I think maybe a hockey jersey, perfect for just being outside and like
Or a penny,
on a
yeah,
golf
like
course.
a wife beater.
No, I want it to be a hockey jersey, a sweater, full sweater,
A golf sweater.
Yeah, why not? All right, Bill, your hot seat, cool Tyrone.
My hot seat
And
is
you can read Jake's too, since he had to leave us.
What are
the
they?
weed game.
He sent them.
Oh, okay. He
Oh,
texted
where
him.
did he text him?
What a good
Yeah.
kid.
Always the diligent boy.
My hot seat's the weed game. Mike Tyson is selling ear-shaped edibles, gummy ear edibles, as an ode to his bite of Vander Holyfield's ear.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Good for
pretty,
him.
It's pretty tight. And my cool throne is the New York Jets in free agency. If you guys have seen recently, they've had some major pickups, major re-signs. Braxton Berrios has been re-signed, and they recently picked up CJ Ozuma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uzama.
Guest on the
Uzama.
show.
Guest on the show, ultimate deep threat. It's going to be huge in the play action game.
No,
Tight end.
No.
He's a tight end, but he's
Not a
huge.
deep threat.
The ultimate.
the
ultimate
play
deep
action?
threat.
But deep threat? He's
Yeah,
not,
he's a
like,
deep threat in the play action.
The ultimate deep threat, not just.
I think he's going to help. He's going to help stretch the field.
Yeah, sure.
He's a big target.
He's a
Right,
big,
but he
yes,
would
there
be
you
like
go,
more
there
in
you
the
go.
middle of the field.
Big target.
In the
Just
middle
stop
of
on
the
that
field.
one.
Target.
Billy
In the-
just
yeah.
Billy just spits out.
But I
words
was-
until he
okay,
lands
so I
on
was
the
Ultimate
word.
deep
watching-
threat is like Tyreek Hill
I
and
know,
Deshaun
I know.
Jackson.
But I was watching his highlights, and then off all these play action plays, he's getting downfield. So that's what I saw.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So CJ
ultimate deep
Uzama,
threat.
I
It's
think
just like he's going to stretch the field.
I just got another notification from Schefter about something that the Jets did. I think they just picked up somebody else.
Yes, guard Laken Tomlinson from
No,
the 49ers.
Another guy.
He picked up another guy?
The Jets have signed cornerback DJ Reed.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ooh,
Name means audiobook.
there we go.
Huh. Well, yeah, Jets are a wagon. Calling it.
They
Week
are.
8.
You're calling it.
I'm calling it. They're a wagon. Week 8, I think, at MetLife, they're beating the Pats. I'm calling it right now. Week 8, home game.
What do you like about that, Hank?
I'm just trying to remember exactly what you said week 2 last year.
They were going to beat the Pats in the playoffs, but we're now on a new season. We're a wagon now. We're updated.
Yeah, I don't know if you
upgraded.
saw the updated standings.
Yeah,
They're a wagon. So things have changed around here.
Who's your quarterback?
Zach Wilson.
Okay, I'm not worried.
When was the last time he threw a pick? Like over several months ago.
These are all facts.
There was a time he was throwing them every weekend. Now he's not.
And you
Yeah.
don't have Mr. INT anymore.
Exactly.
So there's nobody to cover CJ Uzama downfield.
Yep.
Because he gets down there.
All right.
Calls it.
Let's. Jake's hot seat was Water Dog opponents. We released the schedule today.
Don't care.
Yeah. Fuck those dogs. We should do that hashtag. Fuck those dogs. Wheels are in motion to get back on the call. Fingers crossed. That was Jake's words.
Okay,
Those
Jake-
were. I don't think I was supposed to read the parentheses.
Well,
No, I feel like he writes those for himself.
yeah.
yeah.
I
He was
think-
going to casually bring up that he might get back on the call.
I'll say something nice about the Water Dogs. While they were playing when Jake was announcing, they did a good job playing. I don't know if it was Jake's announcing work, but Jake is legitimately good at calling lacrosse games.
I also will say something nice about the Water Dogs. Drew Snyder, really cool guy. Met him in L.A. Super Bowl week. Hung out with him. Awesome dude. Now he retired, so now there's nothing cool about the Water Dogs. But they're retroactively, I'm going to give them cool points for having a cool guy on the team.
Gotcha. And then Billy is now a Redwoods fan, right? Is that what I saw?
The Redwoods
How
have.
could you?
No, the thing is, the Redwoods have some of my favorite players.
What the
from
fuck?
When I was from college. So I was just saying they're like.
Dude.
You know that this podcast owns the Water Dogs.
Yeah,
right?
but I'm a fan of lacrosse as a whole. I wear the PLL emblem on my hat.
All right. Cool Throne One Shining Moment Tracker. It returns this year and starts tonight. We'll be making a Twitter thread. First prediction, a slow-mo of tip-off tonight's first game, Texas Southern versus Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I forgot about Jake's One Shining Moment. This will be great.
Yep.
See how many he can get. We track it. If you missed it last year, he tries to predict what moments will be in One Shining Moment, and then he tracks it throughout the course of the tournament. Just real nerd stuff that just really gets you going.
But we also add in what we think should be in
Right,
there in his takes. But yeah, that was one of the highlights last year for me.
Yeah. All right, speaking of One Shining Moment, let's get into our interview with Mark Titus, talk some more March Madness. Okay, we now welcome on our very good friend, one of our favorites. He is on to talk some March Madness. It is Mark Titus of the Titus and Tate podcast. Go listen to it now. I was on it last week before the conference tourney week. I actually schooled Titus and Tate on basketball because I told them that the Big 12 is the Bill Self Invitational, and they both were like, I don't know, there could be another team that wins it. And then, as always, Bill Self won it. But
what do you mean, as always? Iowa State has won it a lot now.
Okay, but Kansas
respect to Iowa
it.
State.
Kansas always wins it. They always win it. But we got brackets, and we're excited to have you on. Where do you want to start? I mean, we'll go whatever direction you want to go because this bracket, I love it. I love just staring at the bracket, thinking about it, doing everything I can to stuff my head with stats that I won't use. Let's just dive into it.
Let's start with a team. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's a small private school out of Durham, North Carolina. Duke is how it's pronounced.
Small
I want to
private,
start
like under 6 inches. That's just a little Duke humor. Yeah. No, go ahead.
The West is the region of Gonzaga and Duke with I think this is the most fascinating, obviously, because those two teams are pretty interesting, obviously. But you have Gonzaga, who has to win a national title. I think we all agree. If they do not win a national title, they have to fold the program, right? This is –
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, though, and I want to hear what your thoughts are here. Gonzaga's always even though they're not the plucky underdog anymore, they still feel like it a little bit because the narrative has just shifted. It was always like they'll never make a Final Four, which we hold that narrative and we've kept it.
Yeah.
And then they've come close and they haven't been able to do it. So now it's like, they get all these recruits. They get Chet Holmgren. They had Jalen Suggs last year. All these guys, they can't get over the hump. My question to you, though, is it actually a bad thing if Gonzaga wins it all? Because then I personally will have to remind everyone that Mark Few's actually kind of a scumbag and got a DUI
Right.
with his two dogs in the car. Like, he gets a pass.
Gonzaga becomes the new Duke if they win.
Yeah.
They really do. They really do. Like Mark Few is not as likable as I think Gonzaga fans think he is, but I don't hate Mark Few. I don't hate Gonzaga at all. I just like you said, that there is still the underdog vibe to them, which is hilarious because they went undefeated last year. They were one game away from we're having discussions of whether they're the best team of all time. They're not. They wouldn't have been, but they would have run the table in college basketball. It's unprecedented. And yet there is the feeling of they can't get over the hump. I still have people every single March explain to me that Gonzaga chokes in the NCAA tournament every year, and they've been to 2 of the last 4 Final Fours. And
they've just raised the bar for what choking is at this point.
Yeah.
Now they're chokers all the way to the finals. If they just don't win, then they choke this time. And I can't figure out. I'm not sure if America is going to love or hate Chet Holmgren because I personally love him. I hated him the first time I saw him, but then you watch him play, and he's actually a pretty easy guy to root for.
Yeah, I think the thing that helps Gonzaga moving forward, for to answer your question, PFT, I actually really like Chet Holmgren. The reason you hate him is because you turn on the TV and you're just kind of his physique is jarring.
You adjust the aspect ratio. Yeah, you're what's going on? What's going on with his shoulders?
I think
his name's Chet.
Yeah, his name's Chet.
Doesn't help. Doesn't help.
I think Drew Timme is his lightning rod, though. You can hate Drew Timme and like Chet Holmgren.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think Drew Timme is the guy on Gonzaga that people do and should hate. But Drew Timme, it's crazy because Drew Timme was on the number 1 team in the country last year. He had the entire season up until the national title. And I guess they were still technically number 1 in the national title game. He celebrates every basket. He wipes his mustache and is cocky as all hell. Wears the headband. everything about him, he checks every single box, and he comes into this season. He's the preseason player of the year in the country. Gonzaga is the number 1 team in the country. I just don't feel like there's enough hatred around Gonzaga, and I think it is because they never actually win the national title. And I feel like, Dan, to your point, the second they win, people are going to start paying more attention, and they're going to start picking out these Drew Timme types that are coming out. Like a guy like Adam Morrison comes along in 2023, say, and Gonzaga has won a national title. Everybody hates him.
Right.
He was fun to root for back in the day because he was like the counter to JJ Redick. But now, if it happens now, everybody's going to hate him. So I think Gonzaga not winning the title is actually great for college basketball.
It's saving them, because I was thinking about it. It's like Mark Few, he got a DUI, and it was kind of nothing. You know what I mean? Like people, because it was, college basketball. He's a big name in college basketball. He's a fantastic coach. I was just laughing to myself this morning, being like, if they win it all, like, I went and watched his DUI video. I was like, this is going to be very funny. Like, people are going to fucking bring it up, roast him.
I went and watched the DUI video.
Dude, he had his 2 big, you should watch the PFT. It's not funny because it's DUI. He's got these 2 massive German Shepherds in his truck with him, and he tried to blame, he was like, I was fighting off my dogs, that's why I was swerving, and said that he's sprained ankles, so he doesn't want to do a field sobriety test. Like, he's a real dick.
Those are all great excuses, by the way.
He's a real dick
like,
about
off the
it.
top of your head, if you're going to get pulled over and you're drunk, you could do a lot worse in the moment than be like, my dog tried to attack me and I'm injured.
Yeah, but I just know how America works and the media works.
Yeah.
If you have success, they try to find, like, your failures and bring them up.
You're the media doing that right
now.
now.
No, I know. I'm pre-doing it. I'm letting everyone know. It's coming. And also the DUI video is very funny.
Like, I'm watching
you see those
right
2
now.
dogs.
Yeah.
Watch the TMZ version, because the dogs, like, there's
How
one
many
big
different
dog.
how many different versions of this
The
video have you
TMZ
been
version
watching?
has the whole video. There's one dog that pops out, and then there's like, holy fuck, there's another dog. All right, so what were you gonna say, Mark?
I just love that you're breaking that. That's the tape you're breaking down. The bracket comes out, we all turn to break down the tape, and Dan's like on TMZ looking up the DUI videos.
We could talk about Ken Palm forever. This is the stuff people need to know. I am very excited to put a bow on the West region. I do appreciate that Coach K did not get the Midwest, and he did not get Chicago, and he now takes his losing tour out west. Like, I want Duke, weirdly, to get to the Sweet 16 so they can lose in front of just a whole new fan base.
Yeah, I think they're going to get to the Sweet 16, by the way. A lot of people were excited about the idea of Duke playing Michigan State in the second round, and could Michigan State knock Duke off like they did in 2019. This Michigan State team doesn't seem built for that. So I do think they're going to make the Sweet 16. I think that is best. I think what you want, the best case scenario for Duke haters like you and I is, like Duke losing in the first round would be great. And obviously like that is something we'll hang over their heads forever. But I feel like it's almost better for Duke to make the Sweet 16, and you have that lead up that, like, it feels Coach K is talking himself into, like, we have this. They're doing the matchups, and he got a Texas Tech or an Alabama, say, and he's like, that's an easy W for us, and all we have to do is get by Gonzaga. We're going to be the underdog. We're going to somehow get America on our side against Gonzaga. I want that whole week of a lead up into, like, people picturing what it will look like when Coach K goes to the Final Four, and then he doesn't. And that's the visual we all need.
Is there anything that Duke could do to get America on their side? Like, what's the best? Coach K goes over to Ukraine to fight. Uses the military experience that he did not use in Vietnam.
I don't know. This is.
I was gonna say, a story comes out that Mark Few actually killed both his dogs because they were witnesses to his DUI.
That's pretty much it. Like, Gonzaga is the only team I think that, like, somehow you could get people to root for Duke over Gonzaga. The interesting thing, I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about. We're talking about, like, where Duke could lose along the way and, like, the funniest outcomes and all that. Alabama beating Duke in the Sweet 16. You remember Nate Oates last year, the rivalry with Coach K, where Coach K was like, Coach K loses 2 games at home to Big Ten teams. And he's like, should we cancel the season?
Yeah.
Nate Oates' first press conference is like, this guy's a bitch. He's only saying this because he's losing. I would love to see those 2 guys play, because Nate Oates, like, the basketball Illuminati got in his ear and said, you got to walk that back, coach. And he was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. But, like, deep down, we know how he feels about Coach K.
He woke up the next day with a little red dot on his forehead.
Yeah.
Like, you're about to be taken out. I'm a little nervous. Texas Tech, like, I think Texas Tech is better than Duke, but that screams – this is how fucked up and deranged my brain is about Duke. it screams teams that like play aggressive styles of defense are screwed against Duke in this tournament because they're just begging for the refs to control the outcome.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
Texas Tech is screwed if they
right.
play Duke because they play a very like aggressive in your face defense, and all the refs have to do is start calling fouls,
right?
And Duke cakewalks.
If this is like a Big 12 game and they had to go to Lubbock, Texas Tech wins by 15. You know, but the refs, I'm with you. That is because that is a good matchup on paper, but I think your logic tracks.
Yeah.
I think it does.
With Texas Tech, it's interesting because they lost Chris Beard, and everybody assumed that Chris Beard was, to a certain extent, a very large part of the program, and now they're kind of back. Are they the new Fortune 500 company that just runs itself?
Mark Adams is like the guy who took over for Chris Beard. Mark Adams is if you watch Texas Tech all year, Fran Fraschilla loves pointing out how respected this dude is across the state of Texas, and that I really do think they've gotten better almost on they almost won a national title under Chris Beard. So I'm not saying the program has reached the heights yet. We still have to see.
No, I like that
what
though.
March looks like.
That's what I was driving you towards. You said it. You almost want to say that they're a better program without Chris Beard.
Yes. The excitement around the program definitely feels higher than it ever was around Chris Beard because it like those fans are so spiteful and like want to just fuck over Chris Beard so badly. I've never seen anything like it. It's hilarious. Like Chris Beard literally thought like no one would care. He's like, I'm at a football school. I'm in Texas. Texas Tech cares about football. I'm gonna go to another football school. I'm sure the fans won't really mind. And it's awakened something in the Texas Tech fans where they're like, fuck this guy.
It could have been
We're going to go win a basketball national title now.
It could have been anybody except Texas. If he had gone to any other school, no matter who it was, if he had gone to Texas A&M even, it would have been fine. But the fact that he went to Texas was like, wait a second, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, it really is the like it's something you've never cared about before, and then a breakup happens, and the girl who dumped you points out how little you cared about something, and you just become very spiteful, and you just want to like get in great shape or like make a shit ton of money or whatever it is. That's how I feel about Texas Tech. Is like they're like, granted we never really did care about basketball, but now fuck you, we're gonna care and we're gonna be better than Texas. That's all they care about.
The scene in Lubbock when Texas went to Texas Tech this year was like all time off the charts. Incredible college basketball atmosphere. All right, let's do East. The East.
Okay.
The East is my personal region of doom. It feels like there's some really good teams, and you have like Baylor, UNC, UCLA, who's coming from the Final Four last year, Kentucky, and then you have like even teams like Murray State and San Francisco that are very good lower seeds.
Right.
What's your big thought about the East?
I have Kentucky. I'll say this: I have Kentucky in my bracket winning the whole thing. But I'm not super confident. I just like Kentucky. They are a team to me that can win in a million different ways, and I think like what really opened my eyes with Kentucky was the Kansas game when it turned into a track meet, and they were playing a style that I think I would have thought like Kansas would have been better suited for it, and Kentucky kicked their ass in Allen Fieldhouse, and I came away from that thinking, all right, they can run up and down with teams, they can grind out these SEC games. They laid a stinker in the SEC tournament. But as John Calipari pointed out, they did not take a shoot around, so that game doesn't count. They couldn't shoot, but it's because they didn't do a shoot around. But I'm with you, Dan, in general, because like you go through the top seeds here. Baylor is a team that is very talented. They're loaded. They obviously won the national title last year. They have never really brought it all together. We haven't really seen how good they can be because of injuries. And LJ Cryer's out, and Jonathan Chamwa-Chacha was out, and a lot of different guys have been banged up all season. Same with UCLA. Like UCLA, they've had like Jaime Jaquez, who's probably their best player right now, has two bad ankles, and Johnny Juzang rolled his ankle, and they had like weird COVID pauses throughout the season. Purdue, we've talked about, Dan. Like Purdue has a lot of good pieces, but they don't really fit well together. And like Purdue losing in the first round wouldn't shock you, and Purdue going to the Final Four, you're like, yeah, no shit, they went to the Final Four. I mean, they have Jaden Ivey and Travion Williams and Zach Edey. So the East is prime for a lot of chaos. I think that's a good call. The East is going to be a chaotic region for sure.
Is Zach Edey the biggest player in this tournament? I always love a good breakout just giant because every year there seems to be like one guy that plays on like a 12 or 13 seed.
You're a big Taco Fall fan.
Love Taco Fall. Who was the guy? Who was the guy back in the day had a giant undershirt? Played for New Mexico
State. Yeah.
I love the breakout big guys.
I for Bilar or something like that. Is how you Sid? I don't know. I wish Jake Marsh was here. He would know.
Yeah, he was like 7'5", but yeah, is Edie the biggest guy in this?
I think Edie's the guy. Yeah, I think Edie's got to be the guy.
What about St. Mary's? Do you have like who's the little wombat from Australia on St. Mary's this year that I can get behind?
Is it Tommy Kuzi? Is that the guy? I think Tommy Kuzi would be the guy. Yeah, St. Mary's is actually good. St. Mary's is they're a fun team. I didn't really do the deep background check on all their ethnicities. I don't know if they're still Australian, if all of them are still Australian, but let's just roll with it. Yeah,
they're all any white guy on St. Mary's is definitely from like Perth.
Yes.
So everyone's taking Virginia Tech over Texas. I am also. Is that the right? Is that the right side? It feels like they should be the favorite in this game.
Yeah. Virginia Tech, Texas is another team that like some of the other ones we're talking about in the East. That the idea of them, I think, has intoxicated people all season, but we've never actually seen what the final form is. And like now we're in March, and you're like, yeah, but if Texas can pull it all together, just wait to see what we could see here. I don't think Texas is that great of a team. And Virginia Tech's hot. Virginia Tech has a fun offense. I think that's a fair pick. I have Virginia Tech in my Sweet 16. I have Virginia Tech beating Purdue too, because I think that's a good matchup for Virginia Tech as well as playing Purdue in the second round.
That one makes me nervous just because there's always, from a gambling perspective, you actually couldn't get Virginia Tech at a higher high and Texas at a lower low. So it's like this doesn't – and Chris Beard, obviously, his defense in a tournament setting. That's one of those ones I look at. I'm like, because my gut says Virginia Tech as well. And I'm like, wait, what am I doing here? Texas could not be like lower.
Texas's problem is their culture. They're a group of guys. Like they went to the transfer market, brought a bunch of guys in for Chris Beard in year one that put up a bunch of great stats but lost a ton of games. And they threw them all together and they said, look at how great these stats were for all these guys. And none of them are winners. None of them know how to win. None of them have won an NCAA tournament before. So I trust Chris Beard long term. I really do. I've enjoyed piling on this year, given the way he left Texas Tech. But I do trust that he'll have a good program eventually at Texas. But I don't like this team at all.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the South. Arizona. This one. I mean, this is. You have Arizona, who, speaking of size, they are the biggest team in the country. It feels like the only teams. Like if you look at their season, they had the shout out you Mark the back-to-back mountain trip where they tripped up against Colorado, and then weirdly like Stanford played them well because Stanford's also a huge team. So it's to me Arizona's finding another big team that can bother them inside, and then you have Tennessee, who is one of the hottest teams. Villanova, who's always in there, and Illinois, which I don't – let's start with Illinois.
Yeah.
I want to believe in Illinois, but I also am like, I don't want to get burned again because I did believe in them last year, and I feel like I'm going to get burned again.
I don't like the vibes in Champaign. I picked up on this after Ohio State beat Illinois in Champaign a few weeks ago, and it became like a little more personal to me, and I started noticing it more that – Illinois fans are complaining too much and their players are complaining too much. Their coaches are complaining too much. And there's too much like trying to figure out how the world is against them and like what, and all that could be true. Like, I don't, I do believe that the NCAA and the refs hate certain teams and, I don't blame Illinois fans for feeling that way, but, I just wish they would like figure out a way to lock in and they haven't fully come together. Curbelo is, I can't make sense of him. He's
I said it on your podcast. I'll say it again. Someone put it perfectly. Curbelo is if every play is a 1 to a 10, but they took out numbers 3 to 7.
Right.
That's every single play for him. He is truly like take over a game and then just do the most maddening thing you could possibly see.
He had the play of the game in the Big Ten tournament against IU. That pass he threw, that was an absolutely disgusting pass. And then and he's a very good player. And yet at the end of the game, I was cheering for IU because I grew up an IU fan and my family all went to IU. So like I'm pulling for IU, and Curbelo was bringing the ball down the floor for the final shot, and I'm like, IU's going to win this game. Like Curbelo's going to miss it. He's trying to do too much.
Curbelo,
he's going to blow it.
Yeah, he literally was like, "This is my Tyus Edney moment, coast to coast. Here I go."
Right.
Just did it.
And that terrifies me because I think like Illinois is in a position where they can't kind of it's not like Brad Underwood's going to like put Curbelo on the bench and only play him 10 minutes in big games in the NCAA tournament. You got to ride with your guy, you know? But I wish Trent Frazier was given the ball more. I wish Alfonso Plummer I wish they ran stuff through both of those guys more than they do Curbelo. But at the same time, Curbelo will make like 2 or 3 plays where you're like, never mind, I take it all back.
Yeah.
Give the ball to this guy.
Yes.
What about Tennessee? Because Big Cat alluded to them earlier. They're probably the best 3 seed in this tournament. I'm done, by the way. I'm done being upset about them being a 3 seed. There's only so many days that I can possibly care.
Yes.
And I cared on Sunday, and I was like, this is a travesty. I'm done caring now.
I was upset about it, too, because they should have had Duke's 2 seed. But, like, being not in Gonzaga's region is I think it works out well for them. I think it's actually – yeah,
they got like 36 hours of caring about it from me, so I think that's a pretty good deal. I'm done caring about it right now. I like where they're at. It's not an easy group that they're in, especially you look at Villanova that they had. That's the tough matchup because they beat Arizona. I think.
We're just pushing Villanova past Ohio State. That's what we're doing. PFT.
Oh yeah, well Ohio State's going to lose to Loyola and that fucking witch.
Okay, all right.
Although I think I am betting on Ohio State in that game, just because everyone's all up Sister Jean's skirt.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, but with Tennessee, what's the likelihood they could actually get out of this group?
So this is I feel like Dan talking myself into circles with like the gambling brain, as you say, because on the one hand it's Rick Barnes and like I don't know how you can't we have years and years and years and years of data to suggest that like betting on Rick Barnes in this NCAA tournament is actually insane. You're insane if you think Rick Barnes is going to do anything with a good team. On the other hand, we said the exact same shit about Scott Drew before he won his national title last year. We said the exact same shit about Tony Bennett before he won his national title before that. Tennessee plays insane defense. They really are like one of the best defensive teams in the country. They bring it every single game defensively. They make teams look absolutely silly. I watched that Arizona game in the middle of the season. That's one that stands out. Like Arizona has a fun offense and straight out of the gate, Tennessee just swallowed them alive. But there are a few things that worry me. Rick Barnes. It's also like with all of these SEC teams, they all look so fucking awesome at home, and you just get so drunk like watching Auburn in the jungle and watching Tennessee in front of their fans, and Arkansas is the same way. Bud Walton is just absolutely fucking nuts, and like you watch Arkansas get a big win at home, and you're like, oh my god, this team, who's beating this team? So I'm worried about that. The fact that Tennessee looked good in the SEC tournament makes me feel a little bit better. And the fact that they have good guard play, I do think that that's going to matter. They're driven by their guards. They have, Kennedy Chandler, Vescovy, Josiah Jordan James. Ziegler's pretty good too. Like he can come in and he knows his role. And I think that makes me believe in Tennessee. I have Tennessee losing to Ohio State in the Sweet 16, but I'm also extremely biased.
Homer,
and like I'm never going to pick Ohio State. Like truth be told, if Ohio State was wearing, I don't know, USC jerseys, I would have Tennessee giving Arizona a very, very good game in the Elite Eight. I think Tennessee is very, very good. So
I'm an honorary Vol for life. I want Tennessee to do well. I think Rick Barnes is the big sticking point to me. It's kind of like whenever you're looking at the bracket and you try to start talking yourself into a Mountain West team, and you're like, no Mountain West team has done anything. Like Nevada went to the Sweet 16 with Musselman's team, which they were electric, but time and time again, the Mountain West gets in and doesn't do anything.
Do you know about this guy David Rowdy on Colorado State?
Oh yeah, of course he missed that big free throw against Wyoming, right? No, he did. I watched Mountain West. He's awesome.
He's fucking awesome, dude.
Awesome.
Like I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, we need Colorado State to beat Michigan.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is like we need this.
I agree. David Roddy's awesome. I'm just saying that if there's some tried and true things in the bracket where it's like Rick Barnes, Mountain West, like some of these teams. But to Tennessee, I think the biggest problem with Tennessee, and I know this because I root for a team that has this same issue, and Tennessee's better than Wisconsin this year. But every fan who roots for a team that has this issue going into the tournament, it's essentially you're getting into the tournament and you're saying to yourself, can we survive that 5 to 6 minute stretch where we just don't have a field goal?
Yes, that is Tennessee.
It's so scary because you're like, it's going to happen every game. We just won't hit a shot for a stretch. Like it will go in between media timeouts and we're not going to hit a shot. And can you survive it? And that's the big question.
Tennessee is very high on the list. I think Iowa State would be a team I would put up there too, of teams that are in the tournament, got at-large bids that if you told me they went 9 minutes without a field goal, I wouldn't even bat an eye. Like that is a concern. That is a fair concern. They've had those stretches this year, but I don't know. I don't like there's something that feels slightly different with this tennis. There's something that feels slightly different. I think it is that they're so guard dominant that I have to believe that one of these guards can figure it out. Like one of these guys will in those moments. Hopefully it's Kennedy Chandler. He's been playing well as of late. Hopefully it's like Josiah Jordan James has been great too. One of these dudes could step up and just say like, let me score a couple to end this drought, because they are good defensively. Like that's the thing. Like even when they're not scoring, they're still, if they go 9 minutes without a field goal, they're probably also only giving up like 4 points in those 9 minutes. And it's probably just like a very, very ugly game. So I don't know. It's going to come back to bite me, but I'm choosing to believe in Tennessee. And I think it's just because like Scott Drew and Tony Bennett had me rethinking everything we thought we knew about coaches in the tournament, honestly.
Tony Bennett's another good one. Yeah. The David Roddy game I was talking about, it was against Wyoming, which if you don't watch Mountain West basketball, the Wyoming Colorado State game is electric.
It's insane.
Those crowds were nuts.
Yeah.
He tied the game on an and one, and he missed a free throw. And he's like a really good free throw shooter. And I remember being like, oof, that was tough. But they beat him when they went to Colorado State, so they are very good. So wait, who's coming out of the South? Arizona?
I have Arizona over Ohio State in the Elite Eight.
Oh my God, Ohio State in
4 overtimes and a horseshit call that everyone saw was horseshit. But I'm the only one that's actually calling it like it is. No, dude, I can't pick against Ohio State. I think Ohio State has I have like been defeated there. I have said I'm done with this team like 5 different times. And then when I wake up on Selection Sunday and I see we're playing Loyola, and Loyola has, to my knowledge, no NBA players. I know Lucas Williams is really good. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but they lost their best player from last year. They lost their coach. They have a first-year coach. They play in a fucking Mickey Mouse conference. And you're telling me Ohio State with an All-American and EJ Liddell and a lottery pick and Malachi Branham, we're underdogs against this team? How is that possible?
It's media bias.
Yeah,
you hit the nail on the head.
Insane.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Ohio State.
You need Kyle Young, my favorite 90s reliever.
He's going to play.
He is. I love Kyle
think
Young.
so.
If people don't know Kyle Young, if you looked at him, you'd be like, "Oh, this guy's a reliever."
He's a reliever
for the Cincinnati
He looks-
Reds in like 1994.
I think you guys need to
He looks like a guy. He looks like a quarterback that was taken in like the 2014 draft that has had some, or I guess 2014 is probably too far back. Like the 2018 draft that had some old tweets dug up and like had to go back and like he was like from some small school and he was like, wait, that shit's permanent? I got to go delete that? Yeah, he looks like that kind of guy too.
You guys have to have somebody in the crowd to counterbalance the Sister Jean Fest. You need to get Urban Meyer.
Oh,
what about Bucknut?
No, it's gotta be Urban. Only Urban can take away. It's like the little angel and the devil on the shoulder of the game.
Urban gets Sister Jean to dance in his lap.
Yeah,
Just
Urban
grinding
tries
that's
to
how it would be.
Sister Jean.
He just wheels her into the women's room. Let's go, babe.
You know, Sister Jean's older than the shoe.
Oh, really?
Yes. How about that?
Like the Ohio
horseshoe.
Stadium horseshoe, or like literal shoes?
Both. Probably. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up again because I'm pretty sure that's the fact.
While he's looking this up, just give me like a little bit of hope, because we're big Jelly Walker fans on this podcast.
Yeah.
Me, Hank, and Billy, we took UAB as our bracket busters team
Likewise.
this year. Is there a chance that they can beat Houston?
I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I'm gonna hedge. I'm gonna speak out both sides of my mouth, so that way I can't be wrong here. I also picked UAB to win, but I know that it's a very stupid pick. I picked UAB because I'm like you guys. I got sucked into the Jelly Walker experience, and I was like, I have to pick them to win one game, especially if they're a 12 seed. I'm going to pick them in the 12-5 game. The problem, so Houston, I hate Houston, and people that listen to my show know this. I've been calling Houston a fraud for 2 years. They went to the Final Four last year, playing nothing but double-digit seeds. They, in the middle of the year last year, I don't know if you remember this, Dan, you might. Mark Few and Houston and Gonzaga both had like COVID pot, like their opponents couldn't play. They had to cancel games, so they had like a week off. Mark Few tried to do an impromptu game with Houston and Gonzaga. Houston declined, said that they weren't ready to play, they couldn't play, and instead they scheduled like a D3 team in Texas. That set off the alarm bells for me that these guys are frauds and they don't want the smoke from anyone.
Didn't they win by like 70 points?
Yeah, no, they played like a fake school.
Hey,
Our Lady of the Lake. Yeah,
that's right. I remember that game. I know that game, Mark. Come on.
So I hate Houston, like where their program's at right now. But I gotta say, like Houston loads up on wins on shitty schools that are like mid tier, and UAB is exactly the type of team that Houston beats the hell out of. Like I think Houston's a fraud in the sense that, like, if they play Illinois, if they play Arizona, they're fucked. But UAB is like the exact type of team Houston will never lose to. So I still picked UAB, but I understand that it's a terrible pick, and I won't be surprised when Houston wins by 12.
And Houston, like, they're basically like, let's just get a bunch of big, tough dudes and try extra hard on rebounding, offensive rebounding.
Yes.
It's like, this should be illegal. Like, get back on defense. This is not this is not fair. You can't get 5 shots every time you go down. I looked it up. Sister Jean was born in 1919. The Horseshoe Ohio Stadium was built in 1922.
Oh.
She's older than the stadium.
How about that?
How about that? All right. Let's go to the Midwest. Listen, I've already convinced myself that Colgate's going to beat Wisconsin.
Really?
Yeah. I'm so down, but this is actually
that's sad.
Well, here's the good news. When I'm the most down, that's usually when we do well. When I get confident is when things really fall apart.
PFT, where are you at with the Wisconsin fandom in the sense of, because I struggle with this too with Tate being such a Carolina fan, and he lives and dies by every shot, and he swears he doesn't care, but I'm also going to watch on Thursday. I'm going to be sitting right next to him as Carolina's choking it away against Marquette. On the one hand, having your co-host have their heart ripped out, it is great content. On the other hand, they're your friend, and you don't love to see your friends upset. So where do you fall in this? Because I struggle with this, and I need your help.
That's it's a fair point, because actually, like, one of the first videos that we put out was us at the Wisconsin-Florida game. That was the Elite Eight, right?
It was Sweet 16.
Sweet 16 back in 2016, 2017? 17. And there was that buzzer beater at the end, and Big Cat was completely crestfallen and heartbroken. And then I'm just sitting beside him with the biggest shit-eating grin on my face because I know this video is about to do well, and the next podcast is going to get some numbers. So I get caught up sometimes. Like when we were in Madison at the Kohl Center, I was having a great time because I'm in the atmosphere, and when you're in a great college atmosphere, it's tough not to get caught up in that. So I like their team. I think that they're a fine team. I like the fan base. I like the campus there. I think Wisconsin's a great university, one that I probably would have had a lot of fun going to. So I can like see myself rooting for those types of schools. Like UNC is kind of the same way for me, where I could get caught up in a UNC run. So while it's always good to see Big Cat completely miserable in terms of like the end result of the numbers that come in. In the moment, I'm always rooting for his teams.
That's where I'm at. I cheer for the team, but then the moment the clock hits 0 and they lose, I see the silver lining immediately, and I'm like, this isn't the worst.
I think it's from my all like genuine sense from PFT and Hank, and we've been doing it for a very long time. I think they want me to be happy for a little bit, but they ultimately, as long as ultimately ends with heartbreak. Like, it's the buildup is almost better for the storyline. Like if they had,
I was so pissed off in that rain delay in the World Series where the Indians end up losing because it was the perfect run up until getting to see Big Cat completely happy.
Right, and it's like they want me to get to a point where it's like I believe. So actually, right now losing to Colgate would be bad.
Yeah,
because it's like I actually have talked myself into Colgate. The funniest part though about PFT is though. Like if I didn't go to Wisconsin and they were just a random school, they would ironically be his favorite school because it's all white guys and grit. Like he would ironically be rooting for Brad Davison all the time. You know what I mean?
In my game,
like
not in my
joking
name.
about it. Yeah,
that is true.
No,
and like they use the fullback nonstop in like football. So,
but you really are off the train though. You think
I'm not off the train. I'm just like. I don't know. I'm just nervous, and I don't want them to lose. I've said it. People like to say that I've overrated them, which is insanity because I've been very honest. I think I'm actually very honest about my teams. I think they have enough to get to the Sweet 16. If they get to the Sweet 16, I'll be very happy because then it's gravy and see what happens from there. I'm very nervous. If they lose in the first round, I will be devastated.
Yeah. I think Wisconsin actually, I'm not even saying this to butter you up and get you to believe again, so that way it'll be funnier when they lose. I really believe this. So Wisconsin has a great draw.
Yeah.
You have like Iowa State has been sleepwalking through the Big 12 season. They were excited just to start, what was it, 12-0 or something like that. They were dog shit last year. They started hot. So I think their fans have just been content since January, and they're like, we're not trying to even do anything in this tournament. LSU literally doesn't have a coach. So you get past Colgate, second round game, great position to be in. Then you're probably playing Auburn in the Sweet 16. I think Wisconsin matches up great with Auburn. Auburn's guards are Brad Davison is going to eat those guys alive playing head games with their guards that try to take over every game. He's going to love that.
I agree with everything you're saying, and I will go back to the fact that they're playing in Milwaukee on Friday, and I've been to a first 2-round game in Milwaukee. It might even be louder than the Kohl Center because people are drunker. And it's the Kohl Center has a weird thing where half the crowd is 70 years old and wearing sweaters. So it might be louder than the Kohl Center. So I'm going off of that that will be our ace in the hole. I still believe in them. It's more that I've just got my guard up because I don't want to get hurt in the first round. If we lose in the first round, I'm going to tweet a porn link. I'm going to tweet a porn link as my hacked link.
You should do the one that James Brown did.
Yeah, the damp lips.
Yeah, little blonde bitch sucking your trainer's cock.
Yeah, no, I will be doing that. So get ready for that. I'm already planned on doing it. But yeah, whatever. All right, let's talk about the rest of this.
Wait.
All right.
I just want to say I do have a every time one of these tournaments comes around, every time a big event where one of Big Cat's diehard teams is involved, I do go through it and I make a dream scenario in terms of the maximum amount of happiness for my co-host, while also getting that maximum amount of heartbreak. For me this year, it's Wisconsin Duke in the finals. Yeah. Duke beating Wisconsin again. The numbers, Big Cat, you have to admit the numbers on that podcast would be we would release an emergency podcast on that Tuesday morning. Now I might even toss Gonzaga in there because Big Cat's now team anti Mark Few DUI.
Well, I do stand against DUIs.
You do.
Do you? You're okay with drunk driving?
No,
okay.
I'm against drunk driving. The charge is inconsequential. I think you should not drive drunk even if you don't get a DUI.
Correct. I'm against all drunk driving. Losing to Duke would obviously be maximum.
What about losing to Iowa in the Elite Eight?
Very bad. Would be very bad. Let's talk about Iowa because Iowa's similar to Tennessee, Virginia Tech, the hot team. They have been playing incredible. Keegan Murray's awesome. Fran McCaffrey's never been to a Sweet 16.
Is that true?
I'm pretty sure that's true. I might have made that up. I'm going to double check. I also just don't
I wasn't saying it was false. I was saying Fran McCaffrey choking in the tournament has not got on my radar yet. I mean, I know like Iowa losing to Oregon last year, very fresh in my mind. I will not forget that for a very long time because it was that was a lot of times in the NCAA tournament team like Iowa, who had the National Player of the Year as a 2 seed, they lose in the second round. You think to yourself, if they played that 10 times, they're probably winning at least 5 or 6 of them. This was just one of the times they didn't. That Oregon game, it felt like if they played it 10 times, Iowa wins maybe 1. Maybe they'd be lucky to win 1. They got their asses absolutely handed to them. Is that true though?
They have never. Yes, they have never. He has never made a Sweet 16. He didn't do it. He made the tournament with Lehigh. He made the tournament with UNC Greensboro. He made the tournament 3 times with Siena and even won 2 games in the tournament. And then he's made the tournament a bunch of times with Iowa. He has never made it out of the round of 32. And now everyone's saying that they're like a championship team. And again, I think they have one of the best players in the country. And Iowa's one of those schools where I can never make fun of Iowa too much because it really is like the Spider-Man meme, Iowa and Wisconsin, when it's like, I fucking hate Bohannon. It's like, well, dude, you got Brad Davison. Like, what are we talking about?
Bohannon and Keegan Murray are Brad Davison and Johnny Davis.
Yes. Down to Keegan Murray having his brother on the team.
Exactly.
So
It's
I
hilarious.
understand where I'm going with this. I just don't know how you can trust Fran McCaffrey that much when he hasn't been to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I don't trust Fran McCaffrey. I trust Keegan Murray. That's really it. Like he's on another level right now, and he's like, he's somehow. I really like. I woke up this morning and I thought to myself. I first of all, I didn't even realize that this was the case, but I got sent a link that I can vote for the Wooden Award. I had no idea that I could actually vote for the Player of the Year, but I guess. And I'm looking over the ballot. And to me, it's been Oscar Tshiebwe the entire season. Like he's been unbelievable. He doesn't really have bad games. He's a double machine. Kentucky's, as I said, I picked him to win the title. But then I was looking at it and I was like, am I going to vote for Keegan Murray? Like, am I going to do this? Like, because he is unfucking believable and he's playing his best basketball right now. The concerns with Iowa are the defense. I mean, that's always the concern with Iowa, I think. And this year they haven't been a juggernaut defensively. They've gotten better down the stretch though, and I think that's the reason they're so hot. I think their offense has been great all year. It will be great throughout the tournament. I think I'm not worried. Like Oregon, when they played Oregon last year, the problem was the athleticism of Oregon just swallowed them alive. And you had like Joe Wieskamp and Luka Garza types. Those were the guys you were playing through. You're playing through Keegan Murray. He has no problem with athleticism. You could pick a freak athlete, put him on Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray's going to be fine. I'm not worried about that. So I have talked myself into Iowa being okay. I am someone who jumped on the train. I picked Iowa to beat Kansas in the Sweet 16. I understand that's insane. But I don't know. We see insane things every year. Why not? Why not Iowa? Because this Iowa team is different from last year, and I think that's what my function is here on the show when I come on. Is I want to make sure like narratives are real and we should buy into them, but like also we got to make sure year to year we understand the differences between these teams. Last year Iowa was slow. Their best player was like a big man who had cinder block feet that they were trying to play through. They went up against an Oregon team that was coming off of bye because they didn't have to play the first round game because VCU dipped out because of COVID. It was just a terrible matchup. I don't think this Iowa team is built that way. I've talked myself into like they will be able to handle athleticism. They play a little bit better defense. Jordan Bohannon being such a vital part of this team, I don't love that because like if you do get a good point guard, like they can tear him apart. But I think Iowa's going to be okay, and especially like they're probably going to play like Providence or South Dakota State in the second round. I think it's a good matchup for Iowa. Yeah, so like I think that's good for them.
Are we going to add you to the list of the haters of Ed Cooley, of which there are many? Are you a doubter of the Friars? Are you one of these KenPom guys that looks at them and says, you know what? They keep losing all these close games. They must be or they keep winning all these close games. They must be a bad team. I'm a guy that looks at a team that wins a lot of close games and says, they're actually a good team. They're already tourney tested.
Right. The problem with Providence is they do literally nothing well. There's nothing I look at Providence and I say to myself,
all right, that could be an issue. All right.
Yeah. Like Wisconsin. So Providence, Wisconsin feels similar. But with Wisconsin, you have like they never turn the ball over. So there's that. So there's like always that to come back to. And there's Johnny Davis. Right. And like I feel like Wisconsin has been very lucky throughout the season as well. But I still can talk myself into Wisconsin because they have Johnny Davis. And I'm like, all right, that computes. Providence doesn't. I mean, Al Durham is like they're kind of become their closer this season. He is not even their leading scorer. He just kind of like turns it on at the end of games. And I think Providence worked themselves into a shoot where they're so convinced that they are lucky and they are so convinced at the end of games they will pull it out. Yeah. That they sandbag it throughout games. And I envision the scenario where like it's an under 4 timeout. They're down 4. They're all smiling, looking at each other saying like, isn't this hilarious? The other team thinks they're going to win. We got them right where we want them. And then they pass the ball to Al Durham. They're like, Al, hit those crazy ass shots you hit. And then he's like, I got you, fam. And then just starts throwing up bricks.
Is it fair to say like they're the basketball equivalent of Tim Tebow?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's
like,
a good one.
On that run that he had with the Broncos, it was like they just win games. They figured out how to win games. They might win them 13-7, and they don't score a point until the last 2 minutes of the game. And Tim throws 3 interceptions and throws like 3 for 15 passing, but they win.
They feel like, or like the how Jimmy Garoppolo was treated this year in the playoffs, where like it felt like there was a handful of defenders that were like, yeah, but he keeps if he's such a bad quarterback, how does he keep winning? How does he keep winning? Oh, okay, he sucks, and they got their okay, gotcha. There it is.
Yeah, and I love Ed Cooley. I mean, they won the Big East without all Big East players. Like you're right, they don't. Johnny Davis is the part where it's like a little bit different. Where it's like
to that point, you're saying that as like it's a good thing, and it is, and like we should celebrate Ed Cooley. We should be like I'm not telling Providence fans that it was a fraudulent title, even though Villanova swept you and won more games in the Big East. I'm not saying it's fraudulent. What I'm saying, like, it just feels weird that like when we're complimenting Providence, it's like if we actually stop and type out the transcripts of like all the good things you say about Providence, you'd realize how fucking insane it is that you're like betting on this team to do anything in the tournament. Like they have no all Big East players. That's not a good thing. That's not good. We want all Big East, but we want talented players to carry us in these tournaments. I don't know. So I like Ed Cooley though. I'm not an Ed Cooley hater. I love Ed Cooley, but
sounds like
I've talked myself out of.
You're just a hater.
Sounds like you are.
Of all the kids that he coaches.
Sounds like you are. One last thing on the Iowa thing. They have played better defense. I was looking it up, and they're number 2 offense, number 75 defense. The last month and a half, they've been the number 1 offense, number 50 defense. So they got a lot better. Like they got a lot better. I'm gonna give Iowa credit. Like they have played a lot better defense than the traditional Iowa that just basically every game is who can score 80 first.
No, I mean, like they don't. To be fair, like I think picking Iowa to win the national title is absolutely insane. Like because it is going to come back and bite them. They don't play good enough defense. You have to play better defense than they play to win a national title. But they to your point, Dan, they're playing better than they played in the past, and I think that like makes it different. That makes this team a little different. I don't know.
All right,
we'll see.
So give us your Final Four and your champion. We appreciate you coming on Titus and Tate podcast. Go listen to it. Also, hilarious video. They had Titus's dog Moses pick the bracket, and there was what game was it? I've never seen a dog more frozen in time.
He's never done this either, which is hysterical. He had Illinois and Seton Hall. We do with Moses like you guys kind of did with Larry. The goal making the picks. He put treats out and he picks one. By the way, I was doing it with this with Moses ages ago. So the haters that are going to tell me that I'm ripping off part of my take, which is kind of how
we ripped off Paul the Octopus.
Yeah, Paul the Octopus.
So, you ripped off, yeah, I mean, like, are we the first people to ever feed animals on the air? People are asking. So I've been doing this with Moses for 10 years, where we pick winners, and this is the first time I've ever seen him do this. He had Seton Hall in Illinois in the Sweet 16. He had Seton Hall beating Arizona. And then I put 2 treats down live on the air, and I said, pick between Illinois and Seton Hall. And he just stared at him. He just broke. It was amazing. For a full minute, he just stared and would not move. So,
what's his all-time record? What was the question? What's Moses' record?
He's beaten me more often than not. I'll just put it that way. Okay. I'll put it that way. His claim to fame is he had Florida Gulf Coast in the Sweet 16 one year.
Oh, damn. Wow.
They went to the Sweet 16.
I'm riding Moses.
15 seed. Yeah. He had the 15 seed.
I'm following Moses.
Last year he had VCU in his title game, and VCU didn't even play. So technically VCU never lost in the NCAA tournament. So
wow.
That was a pretty good pick.
That's
too,
huge.
So.
Oh, the question was your Final Four and champion, and then we'll let you go.
Final Four. I went pretty chalky, as I always do, because I'm a coward. I did. I do think Gonzaga is going to make the Final Four. I think Gonzaga Duke is going to be the passing of the torch, where Gonzaga becomes the new Duke. I like Gonzaga to make the Final Four. I think Arizona is the best team in the country, and I've thought that for a very long time this year. Even though I don't think they ever were number 1, but I have loved Arizona all season. I think they're in the Final Four out of the South. I have Kentucky to win it all, so I obviously have Kentucky in the East. And then the Midwest to me is the hardest. Like the Midwest, I think that's where the most chaos is going to happen. All the top seeds have obvious flaws to me. I took this a million different ways. I wanted to pick Wisconsin, Dan. I really did. And I'm not just saying that to make you feel better, but I had Iowa beating Kansas. And then I went to do the Wisconsin-Auburn game, and I was like, there's no fucking way I can have 2 Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
So I picked Auburn to beat Wisconsin and then Auburn to beat Iowa. And Auburn's my fourth. I don't feel good about Auburn, to be honest. That's the one I feel the strongest about.
It is perfect that, we've talked many times about how badly we want a Big Ten team to win the national title because we're sick of all the jokes and everything. And now going into this tournament, we're resting our hopes on a guy who has never gotten to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
That's our Iowa is our team now. Like if you talk to any Big Ten fan, they're like, Iowa's playing great. Iowa could do it. So I think we're gonna probably have to wait another year.
We're gonna have to wait another year. It sucks. Yeah. It really sucks. It sucks to be in a position where because you're better than anyone else at arguing that the Big Ten actually doesn't suck. Like you're a pro at this. You've been doing this your whole life. I'm in a position where like I'm at a loss for words, man. Like I really just don't know what to say when people are like the Big Ten sucks. You guys are never going to win a national title. I've run out of ammo.
Never give up.
No idea what to say.
Never give up. Never give up. I do a lot of switching wins in the tournament to Big Ten bowl game wins. Big Ten bowl game wins counting as tournament wins.
I think the reason I'm so flustered is it's usually we're fighting the war with SEC fans in football, and we can always say we're better than you at basketball. And then in basketball, we're fighting with ACC fans, and we're like we're better than you at football. But now the SEC has invested so heavily in basketball, and the SEC was like a better basketball league this year than the Big Ten. We're just we're in a tough position. We're in a tough position.
I just basically play 3-card Monty at all times online with the Big Ten, where it's like I'm shuffling the deck and like moving numbers around. I was flexing about how they had the conference with the most teams in. Like you just got to keep getting people looking in different directions, hoping that they'll trick themselves into thinking that we're good.
That's always the big flex, though, is if you can say we have the most teams in the tournament. That, to me, is the true test of a conference of champions. Mm-hmm. And then it's not your fault. You just, you get matched up against each other eventually and take each other out.
Cannibalize.
I do think the Big Ten's going to find a way to get a lot of teams in the Sweet 16, which would be a surprise to people.
I don't.
I think that's going to be our small victory. I think we get like a lot of teams in the Sweet 16, like, and by a lot I mean like 3 or 4.
3 out of 9.
Yeah, and then none of them make the Final Four, and we're like, yeah, but go back to the Sweet 16 where we were tied with 3 other conferences for having 3 teams in the Sweet 16. So suck our dicks, everyone.
I'll promise this to you, Mark. I will figure out an advanced analytics number system where I award points to teams in different ways, and I'll have us as the winner of the tournament, and I'll give that to you as your talking point.
How have you not gotten one of those kids at Barstool to build an algorithm for you? This is a Jake Marsh project, to build an algorithm for you with that has very heavy Big Ten bias, but it's like baked into the algorithm so deeply that no one can really figure it out.
Well, I think this year it's going to be easy.
I think it's just my brain.
You just do the points scored by conference.
Yeah,
I think the algorithm is
that.
You should just take Ken Palm's algorithm, and then just every Big Ten team gets moved up 3 spots, and that's really all it is. But it's like slightly disguised to where you can't see it so obviously. But I don't know.
I'm on it. All right, well, Mark, thank you. Right. As always, we'll see you in New Orleans. Maybe we'll have you back on. We'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, you guys going to New Orleans?
Yeah.
Do you want to drink a hand grenade with John Rothstein?
I've only been to New Orleans twice in my life. Once I was just passing through, and the other time it was absolutely dead because it was like right around Christmas or something, and I was going to and Bourbon Street was dead. So I've never really had like the full New Orleans experience. I'm excited. We're grabbing wings, Dan, right?
Are we wings. PFT's going to come.
Steve.
Stanford Steve. Yep. PFT was in Hong Kong last time we had the wing date.
I was taking Molly overseas.
We're grabbing wings.
I want to call my shot because that is of all the times I've come on this show, that is the number one act of cowardice was recalling the wing story when you and Steve asked me to go get wings, and I froze.
You were intimidated by guys getting wings.
It was the most alpha shit I've ever seen in my life.
I don't think that you're invited to the wing. You've kind of opted out of the wings date, haven't you?
No, let's let them. Second chances.
No, I really think like I can't stress enough that this is the the biggest like sliding doors moment in my life is what happens in New Orleans on wing day, because when I turned you guys down and I was like, what do you mean go to get wings and all that happened, I got absolutely fucking roasted for it. And the first thing I did was I looked up the next Final Four, which is 2020, and I wrote wings with Dan and Steve on that Monday. I'm going to do it. No tournament, obviously. 2021 was like not a real tournament. I've waited 3 goddamn years for this.
Yeah.
This is a big moment for me.
And to give you just a little peek into how beta he is, Stanford Steve, Mark and I have like a group text about college basketball, and Steve and I just have a running bit that we never spell Mark's name correctly, and he just eats it.
Yeah,
he just takes
it. You spell it with a C because it is very that is the effeminate way to
yeah. He can't do anything about it. We just shit on his name, and he's never brought it up.
PFT, I need you in my corner for this wings because these dudes have been piling on me for 3 years.
I've probably been one of the biggest anti-Mark Titus voices in the wing debate because like my life is a series of engagements to go get wings. That's
you know what it is.
That is the food that I eat probably 10 times
shit
more.
On his culture.
Besides soup.
Yeah.
If you eliminated soup from my diet, my food pyramid is like 33% just a chicken wing.
I want to reiterate. It wasn't the way I eat wings. I do.
I don't
partake.
think you do.
No, you don't. This is like
the way that you just phrased that. Even it didn't
this
sound
like
like a
real,
wing guy.
Yeah, real bros
guys,
Simi Valley. Do you burn? Like I burn, guys. I burn.
I like a wing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other things in my life that you could attack. You could take my man card for, and it wouldn't bother me. But like for some reason, this one really hit me because I don't know. Like I think ultimately I want my legacy on the show to be a guy who gets it. That's what means the most to me. Is I want like when we're all dead and buried and they talk about my run on Pardon My Take, I want them to just refer to me as he's a guy who got it. And we're not even really sure what that is. They're just like, I love Titus because he got it.
Yeah.
And that is a great example of Titus not getting it.
Nope.
Was the way you started.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think if you out-eat Stanford Steve at Wing Day, I think at that point homeboy could get it.
Yeah,
that's a great question. Is like, how do I redeem myself? What does this even look like?
You got to show Steve
up
under the table.
Yeah, you got to show up to wings and act like you've been there before.
Because I'm scared to even say this, but no, I don't even want to say it. That's gonna.
Right.
You know what? Titus gonna show up. He's gonna order boneless.
Yeah, he's gonna, and he's also.
I'm not a boneless guy, but me and buffalo sauce don't have a great.
Oh no! All right, this interview's over. Jesus Christ!
You just do hate wings. I was right.
Yeah, he hates wings, and he hates male friendship. That's the worst part.
Oh my God!
That's the real part of the travesty. It's not wings. It's male friendship.
He just doesn't get it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hang off the phone. I'm gonna get off this interview. You're gonna turn to each other and be like, he just doesn't get it.
Yeah, this fucking guy. Who brought this
fucking
guy?
Doesn't get it. Damn it.
All right, Mark Titus.
All right, guys.
Yes, thank you. Titus and Tate podcast. Go listen, and we will see you in New Orleans.
See you guys
later, Mark. Mark Titus is brought to you by Venmo. We're using Venmo. Venmo your friends. Venmo everybody. Everyone uses Venmo. It's our favorite way to send money. If you ever scroll through your Venmo feed, you can feel like it's a form of social media sometimes. I was just looking through it and be like, oh, man, I can't believe that Mark paid Jamie that money. I wonder what it's for. It's fun to see what people are spending money on Venmo. If you use Venmo, you have to make sure to use hashtag PMT on any transaction that you make for any amount. Doesn't matter what it is, because Venmo is giving out $100,000 to AWLs throughout this basketball season. So just include hashtag PMT in the payment note for a chance to win up to $500. If you screenshot your winnings, post it to Twitter or Instagram, and make sure to tag us in it so that we can see which AWLs are getting paid. We want you to make some money by sending money. We love Venmo. And I'm using it right now. I'm looking through my my feed right now. It's just a bunch of like furniture, golf, bubbly. Man, my friends are spending money on some awesome stuff right now. They should be using hashtag PMT so they can get some money back. So when you use Venmo on any transaction, remember, use hashtag PMT and you can win up to $500 from Venmo. Terms apply. For full details on the giveaway and alternative entry methods, visit venmo.com/giveaway/PMT.
Okay, we now welcome on our very good friend, Michael P. Florio, attorney at law. He's got a book out. It's called Playmakers. It's out right now. Everyone go buy it. You don't have to read it. This is going to be our plea to the people because we know our audience. We're telling you right now, Mike Florio has done a lot for me and PFT in our careers. He's always been very kind to us. He's been a friend of the program. He's been gracious to us at times when we have been outsiders and people say, fuck those guys. So we are asking you to buy it and then use it. I don't know, put it in the toilet, put it in the bathroom, read it every now and then, or don't read it. We don't care. We just want you to buy it to pay it forward for everything Mike Florio has done for us. Is that fair?
That's fair. And it's actually your first book, too, because you guys are on the jacket. I've got it here, the final product.
Oh, wow.
On the back cover.
Can you read what we wrote? Read what we wrote.
I forget what I wrote. Did you write it for us?
No, I don't know. I can't remember where any of this came from. Mike Florio is one of our top 3 favorite writers at Pro Football Talk. Thank you very much for that.
Yep.
And he is our favorite host of PFT Live. Thank you very much for that. We thought this book was going to be about the ESPN show. It's not, but it's still good. If you have to read a book, this would be a good choice. That's the nicest thing anyone said about the book.
Well, you're welcome, Mike. And it is true. You've done more for us than a lot of people know. You probably could have just killed my career before it even started by asking me or suing me, since you're a lawyer, and getting me to stop using the PFT name in terms of what I write online. So buy his book. It's actually, I'll go one further, perfect Father's Day book. Because it's short. I'm looking at these chapters. This is the best part of the book, I think. Each chapter is like 2 or 3 pages, which makes you feel like you're doing some serious work as you're motoring through it.
Hey, listen. I wrote it the way that I read. I hate reading long chapters because you want to finish a chapter. You want to have something accomplished. And when I read, I find myself saying, God, how much longer is this chapter? Well, none of these are longer than 2 or 3 pages. Now, there's over 110 of them. But you feel like you're knocking items off the to-do list.
And I also just want to say, there'll be people out there. I get this often. People will say to me, like, oh, Florio's a dickhead, or he's self-important, or he took COVID way too seriously. And I'm always like, dude, he's my friend. So, if you think those things, like, oh, he's a narcissist and everything he writes is wrong all the time and he's doing it for clickbaits and he's just a terrible person, I don't care about all that. Just buy the book.
Thanks. I appreciate that. That's good. We should have had that on the back cover.
Now, Mike, I'm looking through the table of contents right here. I don't see anything about the Dez tape. Oh. How many pages did you devote to the Dez tape?
Let me tell you something. There was an entry proposed in the original outline. I put more work into crafting the outline of this damn thing than I did writing it. Once we had the outline agreed on, it wrote itself. So there was going to be a Dez tape chapter, but that landed on the cutting room floor. Technically, it was never written, but it was part of the outline.
It's like the Dez tape of the Dez tape.
Right.
Where it existed. You're saying that there was one, but nobody knows where it went.
Life imitates art.
Exactly. There still is one. I know who has it. I've never seen it, but I know who has it, and I doubt that it ever sees the light of day.
Okay, so we're going to do guys on free agency. That's why we have you on, but I want to have one last question about the book. Please do go buy it. Give us the quick summary of what the book is about.
Last 20 years in the NFL, one scandal, controversy, anecdote at a time. It's broken down into 10 different sections, and you can fly through it pretty quickly, and it will give you either a refresher of things you thought you knew or had forgotten, or you'll learn some things you never knew. I was talking to somebody last night who never knew Chris Sims almost died in 2006 because his spleen was ruptured during a game against the Carolina Panthers, and they had to do emergency surgery to save the guy's life. So that's in there, along with many other things. It just shows you how the NFL's evolved over the last 20 years, the things the NFL does right, the things it does wrong, and the things it needs to worry about going into the future. Although the reality is the NFL can screw up as much as it wants, and it's still going to make a ton of money, and millions are still going to tune in and watch the game.
That's a fact. So that is the Chris Sims story is a good one to bring up. Obviously, if you've met Chris Sims, you knew it because he says it to you right away. He literally introduced himself as, "Hey, I'm Chris Sims. I don't have a spleen." All right, let's talk some free agency. I want to start with Tom Brady. You were on it. Now, you were kind of on it. I saw an interview you did 3 or 4 days ago saying he's not retired. He's coming back. But your understanding of it is that he's going to play for the 49ers. Are you standing pat with that he is still going to try to find a way to play for the 49ers this season?
I think he's all in with the Buccaneers this year. I think he came to the conclusion he wasn't going to find a graceful exit from Tampa Bay, and that if he was going to play this year, he'd better jump on now before they make a move at quarterback that would make it impossible for him to come back. Now, he could have let that play out and then tried to finagle his way to another team. We had reported a couple of weeks ago the Dolphins were looking at a package deal. Sean Payton from the Saints, after he had resigned, try to compensate the Saints and hire him and get Brady from the Buccaneers. That went away when Brian Flores filed his lawsuit. So there was at least some thought, I believe, from Brady to play for someone else, but at the end of the day, he decided to stay with the Buccaneers. There's got to be a hell of a story behind that, because I do think he at least pondered the idea of going somewhere else.
Perfect for Playmakers Part 2. Now, follow-up question to that. Do you think Bruce Arians is the coach for the Bucs coming up this next year? Because it's clear from everything I've understood, and I'm not an insider, you are, there was some tension there. Do you think that Brady's going to come back and maybe we have Bruce Arians walk away sometime in the summer or something? Or do you think that relationship will be okay going forward?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for Arians to walk away and have it not look like he was pushed, and have it ultimately not look like Brady was the one who basically said, hey, I'll come back and play if we have a different head coach. So I'll be surprised if that happens. I know there's some people who are watching and waiting to see if something happens with Arians now that Brady is back. And I remember when Arians in 2020 was calling out Brady for interceptions and whatnot, and it was getting a little monotonous. It's like, don't you realize this is Tom Brady? And I always wondered whether or not ownership at some point said, hey, Bruce, look, we want this guy to be on the team next year when we can actually sell tickets and have people in the stadium, because he'll fill the stadium. Nobody's showing up to watch you. They're showing up to watch him. So quit criticizing him. Start, making him happy, because we need him to play as long as possible. So look, 2022, that stadium's full if Tom Brady's the quarterback. They don't care who the coach is. And I'm not saying that Arians is getting nudged away, but there may be just some things that have to change in order to allow the relationship to be what it can be.
Okay, so Tom Brady retires after this season. Do you think that this was his plan the entire time to come back, and it was just a big game of chicken, and he was hoping that there would be some sort of release, and so he kind of went down this road, kept going down the road, and said, fine, I guess I'll just retire, because he wanted to play somewhere else. And then once he realized that the Bucs weren't willing to play ball, he just kind of threw his hands up and said, all right, you win, I'll come back, I'll play for you.
I really don't think he knew what he wanted to do when he retired. I don't know whether others were pushing him. We know that his wife for 5 years has been saying the what else can you accomplish line, and really tried last year after they won the Super Bowl. What else do you have to prove on the field in Tampa as the confetti was in the air? What else do you have to prove? And he got one more year out of it. And I feel like it was kind of a negotiated thing that he was going to retire after this year. But I was always stunned by the retirement talk. I know there's a narrative out there that he just retired because the media was hounding him. Well, no one was hounding him. He had said all year long he's playing through 2020. He said for years he's playing through the year in which he turns 45. No one was saying, hey, gee, maybe Tom Brady will retire after the 2021 season. That all popped up out of the blue. Rob Ninkovich was on ESPN, and he was the first one to say it. And they asked Byron Leftwich about it, the offensive coordinator of the Bucs, the next day. And his answer was enough to get me to say, holy shit, something's going on here. And then lo and behold, he retires. But 6 days later, that's when I knew he was coming back. I mean, 6 days after he retires, he goes on his own podcast and says, never say never, and I don't know how I'm going to feel in 6 months. He didn't know how he was going to feel in 6 weeks. He was back. Mm-hmm. And from that point forward, I knew he was coming back. Once I heard that, it was the same that I felt when Brett Favre was on David Letterman back in 2008 in April, and he said, when training camp rolls around, something's bound to happen. And it's like, holy shit, this guy's coming back. That was the same feeling I had 6 days after Brady retired. I just never thought he was coming back to the Bucs.
It makes sense. Mm-hmm. It makes sense. And you were on top of it. Now let's do a different quarterback. The quarterback, they were all waiting to see what happens. Deshaun Watson. Two-part question. Mike Florio sitting here right now. Where does he end up in your mind? And will he serve any time suspended?
Let me start with that one first, because I had believed all along that once he was either exonerated, charged, whatever, anything other than felony charges, he would have faced some sort of a suspension from the league immediately. I'm now thinking that they're going to wait, because one thing they've learned the hard way over the years, and there are plenty of examples spelled out in Playmakers, if you act before you have to act, there's a chance you're going to make a mistake. So they like to wait now until they absolutely positively have to do something. Last year, remember when he was facing all these charges, like, well, was he going to be on paid leave? The league didn't have to do anything because he wasn't trying to play. The Texans weren't putting him on the field, so no need to make a decision. They ultimately didn't trade him. No need to make a decision. I think what they may do is wait to see how the 22 civil lawsuits play out before they decide what to do. If they settle, maybe they suspend him. If he loses at trial, probably he gets suspended. If he gets exonerated by a jury on all 22 of those civil claims, to go along with not being charged at all, what do you suspend him for? What did he do? In the eyes of the legal system, both criminal and civil, he's done nothing wrong. So I think they're going to wait. As it relates to who he's going to play for, that's all very fluid. You got new teams popping up all the time. I keep waiting for the Eagles to make their move. And I think that the Eagles and maybe some other teams want to see how the Tuesday deposition went. That was when Watson was going to be grilled for the first time, not take the Fifth Amendment, answer tough questions. We've seen guys not hold up well under aggressive questioning. And if that ends up being a debacle, you could have teams back out. And you could ultimately have the Texans holding the bag again, depending upon how badly that deposition goes, if it goes badly.
Right. So I was actually under the impression from some tweets that I read over the weekend that he had been fully exonerated because he wasn't charged by the grand jury. That's how the legal. You're a lawyer. You agree that's how the legal system works.
Fully exonerated. The truth came out. He has no further issue. Now, look, just because a grand jury doesn't indict you, it means absolutely nothing because the prosecutor's got so much sway. If the prosecutor wants to indict you, typically the prosecutor can. If the prosecutor doesn't, there's an artful way to do it to get the grand jury to not indict because there's no one else in there. There's no representative of the defendant. There's no representative of the victim. It's just the prosecutor with the grand jury, and a good prosecutor can get the grand jury to do whatever he or she wants the grand jury to do. And I think that's what happened Friday. I think the prosecutor didn't want, for whatever reason, didn't want an indictment. Prosecutor didn't get an indictment.
So, so a lot of people are talking about the NFC South as being a potential destination. They're saying either the Falcons, they emerged as the mystery team today. The Panthers, I guess the logic behind that is he just kind of wants to go play somewhere that was close to where he went to college, that he's got connections. The Saints have been mentioned as well. I think the Patriots, just given ownership's past instances and dealings with certain massage parlors, it seems like it might be a good fit there. Maybe kindred spirits.
I should have known. I should have written down before we started this places that my internet son will try to take me. Let's focus on the NFC.
Have you ever been to a rub and tug?
No.
Just the tug.
No. NFC. Every team in the NFC South, other than the Buccaneers, obviously want Deshaun Watson. And before Brady came back, they were in on it too. Wouldn't it have been something if all four teams were interested in Deshaun Watson? I don't know how the Falcons pulled it off with Matt Ryan's cap number, and they restructured his contract, and the cap consequence would be like $55 million if they trade him before June 1. That makes no sense. It may just be the Falcons are trying to screw things up for the Saints or the Panthers. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I don't want to go to the Panthers because Matt Rule's on the hot seat. I don't want to go through the whole Bill O'Brien gets fired thing again if things don't work out, and that's entirely possible. And he didn't want to play for them last year. Now, I've seen some people suggesting after meeting with the Panthers on Monday night, he's willing to play for them. That would be a change from last year. He wanted to go to Miami, not Carolina. The Saints wouldn't have wanted him if Sean Payton was still there. I can guarantee you that. But they're interested in him now that Payton's gone and Pete Carmichael's running the offense. Dennis Allen's the head coach. So we'll see. But all these teams from the NFC South circling Deshaun Watson, if I'm him, I got to remember, I still have to deal with the Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. I really do like the Eagles as a destination because the division's not the strongest. The conference is weaker than the AFC top to bottom. I think that if I had to pick which team I wanted to play for, I'd say the Eagles if I was Deshaun Watson.
Okay, so speaking of horny quarterbacks, where's Jimmy G going?
Yeah, isn't it weird to think there may be a trade market and maybe like a bidding war for Jimmy Garoppolo? You get the Colts, you get the Saints. I thought the Steelers were going to be in the mix, but obviously they've got your good friend, Mitchell Trubisky, for the next 2 years at $14 million. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they draft someone in round one. I think that's the perfect placeholder contract, like the one Mike Glennon signed with your Bears.
All right.
Right? It's the same thing. Mitch Trubisky is Mike Glennon of the 2022 Steelers.
You just backed up the fucking Brinks truck for Kirk Cousins. So let's not – the three of us are in like a Mexican standoff of bad quarterbacks. Let's chill out.
Let me tell you. Sims and I on Tuesday morning had that conversation. Kirk Cousins at $35 million, Mitch Trubisky at $7 million. We're taking Trubisky any day of the year.
Yes.
Cousins is not 5 times better than Mitchell Trubisky.
Correct.
Of course.
Correct.
Where do you stand if you had to take one, gun to your head, one quarterback for 1 year, Carson Wentz or Kirk Cousins? Because I'm battling the Cousins stands right now online.
This is not a popular take, and I know you're not going to like it, but I think Wentz has the potential to be pretty good again. I think, and this is the example that I used last week, and I have reason to believe that it's an accurate read on what happened. He got kicked out of his house in Philadelphia. He had a family member tell him get the hell out, but he had another family member open the door and say, come on home, in Frank Reich.
Yep.
So he was able to leave Philadelphia thinking, it's not about me, it's about them. They've got it all screwed up. I'm still good. I'm being reunited with my family member from Philadelphia. Everything's fine. Well, now he's been kicked out to a stranger's house. And now's the time when he's got to wake up and realize where he needs to improve. He can do the hard parts of the job. He screws up on the easy parts of the job. And I think Ron Rivera, who I have a ton of respect for, will say the hard things to Carson Wentz, including, this is your last chance, pal. This is it. If you screw this up, you are done. And we've seen him play at a high level in the past. People forget that very quickly. And I know it was 5 years ago when he was an MVP candidate until he tore his ACL, but we've seen positive attributes. And I would go with Wentz over Cousins for one very important reason. Cousins can run the play that's called as long as the play that's called goes perfectly. The moment it goes to shit, Cousins can't do anything. Wentz has the athleticism to try to make chicken salad on the fly. That separates him from Cousins in my view. And for what he's getting paid versus what Cousins getting paid, I'd take Wentz.
Yep.
Okay, I agree with that.
I like your analogy. It's like Carson Wentz he's a rescue dog right now. We're fostering him. He's been kicked out of old homes for bad behavior. He's got one last chance before he goes to the pound.
Don't bite any little kids.
Yeah, they're going to stick the needle right in.
If he humps another leg, he's done.
Yeah, he's done. This is the last chance. We'll feed you. You got a warm place to stay. We'll try to rehab you. We'll give you good positive reinforcement. The second you piss inside, we're sending you to the gas chamber.
I actually can imagine like Ron Rivera have like the little clicker with the and some treats, a little treat like fanny pack running around trying to get him to go run the right way. All right. Give me your surprise team thus far in free agency, what they've done.
I guess the Jaguars, just because I feel like they're trying to spend their way out of dysfunction, but you look at the guys they've got and it's like, well, they had to convince them to sign. And it's not like they ridiculously overpaid. I mean, you want to be a team that wins the ties, that when it's you and another team at roughly the same money, the player chooses you. And I assume the Jaguars had to offer a little bit more to get these guys to go to Jacksonville, but it's not like ridiculous. I know the Christian Kirk contract seems over the top, especially when it was first reported as 4 years, $84 million. It's 4 years, $72 million, which is, a slight difference. But at the same time, Evan Ingram, 1 year, $9 million. That's not a bad deal. Zay Jones, that's not a bad deal. Some of these other guys are getting Brandon Scherf. I mean, they're doing what they can to make themselves not a complete and total mess. And we'll see what happens.
I agree with that. I think they're stuck in a spot. It's easy to make fun of the Jaguars. We all do. But they're stuck in a spot where they need Trevor Lawrence to show that he's a franchise guy in order to attract these type of guys cheaper. But they also need to put some talent around him so he can show that he's a franchise guy. So this is almost a necessary step for them to get to the point where maybe in 2 or 3 years, guys are wanting to go to Jacksonville because Trevor Lawrence is that guy.
And now's the time to spend on other players because you don't have to spend on Trevor Lawrence the way you'll have to if he becomes that guy.
Correct.
And then you have to convince guys to take less because Trevor Lawrence is accounting for 18% of the salary cap.
What about Devontae Adams? Tell me that it's going to be impossible for the Packers to re-sign him.
Well, the problem with the Packers is, and there's a few teams that do business this way, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but the bottom line is most teams, when they sign someone to a long-term deal, will guarantee money fully beyond the first year. The Packers, the Bengals, and up until last year, the Steelers didn't, except for quarterbacks. The Steelers finally changed with T.J. Watt. The Packers this week, the deals they did with Preston Smith, Devondre Campbell, no guaranteed money beyond the first year. They rarely use the franchise tag, too, in Green Bay. So when you have a guy like Devontae Adams, who has over $20 million fully guaranteed this year, and you're not going to offer him guaranteed money beyond this year, what's the point in signing a long-term contract? I'll just take the $20 million this year And then next year you can tag me again and I'll get a 20% raise. So the way they do business is going to make it very hard to get Devontae Adams the kind of contract he wants. And I know he's told the team he's not going to play under the franchise tag. It's $20 million. He's going to do the Le'Veon Bell thing and sit out all year? I don't think so. I think push comes to shove, he takes the $20 million, especially with Aaron Rodgers back in the fold. The question is what happens next year.
I'm just seeing some breaking news right now. Randy Gregory is actually signing with the Broncos, not with the Cowboys. Hashtag Shefty was wrong on that one.
Well, and that's the only thing to keep in mind. This negotiating period, it's really the start of free agency, but nothing is done until it's done. And now he could have actually signed with the Cowboys since that's his former team, but the players aren't bound to any of this until the contracts are actually signed.
Mm-hmm. So one last question. Update us on the Kyler Murray saga out in Arizona, because the way that played out this offseason, I think it's clear that he's just not a happy person. And anybody watching his body language, we are the body language experts on the sidelines, could have told you that this season. My big question is, how happy can the team be with him? We know he's not happy with them, but I feel like what's happened over the last, 4 or 5 months, not only in the front office, but maybe some of his teammates too, it's starting to wear a little bit thin.
Well, first of all, you know the answer to this question. Is anybody 5'7" ever happy?
No, absolutely not.
Unless they're trying to take over Europe.
I think this all comes down to, and you look at the range of quarterback salaries right now, and it goes from, technically Aaron Rodgers is now at $61.7 million, although I really don't think he's going to make that kind of money. But if you look at a new money analysis of his contract, it goes that high. And you've got Matt Ryan, the 10th highest paid quarterback at $30 million. There's a long way to go. It used to be, just a few years ago, the next guy who was in line for a contract became the highest paid player in NFL history by $500,000 a year. And they were going one after another, after another. Then Patrick Mahomes blows it out to $45 million. You get this broad range. So you get a guy like Kyler Murray, who the Cardinals want to keep. But where do you drop that number? And Big Cat, we've had this conversation on PFT Live before. We had it regarding Jared Goff. And we know the Rams screwed up, and they know they screwed up. They should have said to Goff, we're not going to make you the highest paid player in league history just because you're good enough to get a second contract.
Yeah.
So I think the Cardinals have their territory staked out. Murray has his, and there's a huge gap. And I think some of the crap that came out, the Mortensen thing about Murray being self-centered and finger-pointing and immature, I think some of that stuff was coming from the highest levels of the Cardinals organization to try to reel in his expectations. They have a problem. They got to figure out a middle ground. And I think they've got a huge gap between what Murray wants and what the Cardinals will pay. And I think that's what's really going on there.
Okay, my last question. Give us your favorite story from Playmakers out now. Go buy it. Again, you don't have to like Florio. You can, in fact, hate him, but do it for us. And then throw it in the trash. We don't care. Just buy the book. Your favorite story to revisit in Playmakers that you're like, wow, we got this wrong at the time.
Oh, wow. That we got wrong at the time?
Yeah, where you went back and looked at it and you're like, the takes that happened during this time period were very far away from the truth.
I think I know Florio's answer in terms of what's the one story he loves to talk about that nobody else talks about ever is the Wisnator story. You love the Wisnator story.
Yeah.
I saw that. But to the Big Cat's question, what's your biggest fuck up, Mike?
Not yours personally, but maybe the national media where we were just like, the truth ended up being something totally different than what we discussed in the present.
Yeah, the story that would be our biggest screw up also didn't make the final outline, and that's when we killed Terry Bradshaw back in 2007. We'll eventually be right. We will eventually be right.
First on the scene.
On that report.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I keep going back to, and this was the moment that the switch flipped for me about the NFL, and you can't trust anything they say when it comes to one of these disciplinary actions, investigations, whatever, the bounty scandal from 2012, because everybody in the media swallowed the hook on the Saints doing something that was ridiculously wrong and over the top. Meanwhile, there were plenty of examples of other teams doing the same damn thing that they ignored. And then they went out of their way to try to sell us on an existence of facts that wasn't true. Once I came to the conclusion that they were trying too damn hard to make this look like something it wasn't, that was when I said, I am always going to assume that whatever the NFL wants me to believe isn't true, and I'm going to force them to prove to me that they're right. And we've seen it time and again since 2012, whether it's the Patriots scandals, Deflategate, and what a debacle that was. And we have some new reporting in the book that even confirms that strongly, more strongly than it was. But it just seems like every time the NFL wants us to believe something, there's reason to scratch the surface and get to the truth. And the truth is usually different than whatever agenda they're pushing. And it started for me with the bounty scandal. And I frankly think I was the only one that was willing to stand up and call bullshit on the bounty scandal. And everybody else in the media was just like nodding, yes, NFL, you're absolutely right.
So you just alluded to something that's in the book. Can you give us any more information? I just want Hank to get excited. What new info have you uncovered in the Patriots Deflategate scandal that points the finger at the NFL and says, hey, you guys were lying about this?
Well, the first thing is we outed the source for Chris Mortensen's report that 11 of 12 footballs were 2 pounds underinflated. That was the report that made this into a holy crap, somebody cheated. Before that, it was like, oh, something weird's going on. When Mortensen says 11 to 12 footballs are more than 2 pounds or 2 or more pounds underinflated, everybody's like, well, if somebody cheated, it's just a question of who did it. That was false information that was given to him by Troy Vincent from the NFL office. We report that in Playmakers. And also 2015, when they decided they were going to do spot checks at various temperatures and atmospheric conditions to see how the air inside these footballs actually operates during games. They had a full year of checks at all sorts of temperatures, hot and cold and in between. And at the end of the year, those things got erased for good at the behest of NFL General Counsel Jeff Pash. That's also reported in the book.
They delete.
And that implies that if those numbers had come out, we'd have gone back and compared them and the temperatures at those games to what the temperature was for the AFC Championship in January of 2015, what the numbers actually were in the Patriots footballs, and we just said, at best, the end result of Deflategate should have been the evidence is inconclusive.
So this is a good selling point for Hank and any Patriots fans that want to have this in their back pocket. More stats that back you up and say that the NFL lied.
Just wave this around and say we were right all along. Tom Brady got screwed. I mean, the text messages were a little questionable, but still, you got to prove that the guy cheated. And they never proved, in my opinion, never proved he cheated.
I love it. Yeah, Jeff Pash, handshake, Hillary Clinton, deleting emails and data to suppress Patriots.
Be careful. That's Mike's president still. Hillary is your president.
You guys didn't get political. I've completely scrubbed any political thought out of my brain.
We don't do politics either.
Stick to sports.
Mike retweets that tweet from Hillary every year on her birthday, being like, this young lady became president of the United States. All right, Mike, I'm going to do something very nice for you. We end every show with the lottery machine. This is the end of the show, which we usually don't have guests at the end of the show. I'm going to let you pick a number. We all pick numbers, and we're going to send everyone on their way into the March Madness. Oh, do you even know that March Madness is happening?
I know it's March.
Okay, that's it. That's good enough for you.
It is March.
Have you looked at a bracket?
NFL is king, Mike. Don't ever forget that.
No
I
brackets.
have not looked at
Will you watch any games?
No. Accidentally, maybe.
You're psycho. Okay.
Sorry.
Number. Go ahead. 0 to 100.
Range?
0 to 100.
32.
I'm going to go 22.
I'm going to go 60. I'm going to go 69 because Billy's not here, and I hope that it hits while Billy's gone.
Yes. Jake, Liam.
26. 25.
25. Memes got 3. Hank, if you're there, you can chime in.
17.
17. There's Hank. All right. What was your number? 32, Mike?
32.
$62. 62. Very close.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mike.
Yes.
I also.
What's the point of that? I'm sorry,
It's
I'm
for
not.
fun. Is that not fun for you?
What's the point of writing a book?
That's
Yeah, we could do this
that's
all
a very
day.
good question.
Why do
I
you
asked
watch
myself
football,
that many
Mike?
times while I was writing it.
Well, thank you, Mike. We love you, and we appreciate you always supporting us. And this is us supporting you. Again, just throw out the whole he went crazy with COVID and all this stuff, and, just forget about that. Buy the book.
That he hates the Bengals.
Yeah, buy the book.
And that he's a Steelers homer and a Vikings homer, and that he's
going.
short.
Yeah.
Don't forget about all that
He's
stuff.
tweeting cryptic things about drunk people texting him.
Yes.
Who was that?
Exactly.
That was me.
We're done recording
tell.
now. So who was that?
It was
It was
me.
Shefty.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks, guys.
See ya.
All right. See ya.